hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
Remember, we want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley.
Look up something in back check, kind of like cross reference.
I should put the.
You say you look that shit up. That's the name of your show.
Yeah,
that's right. What really drew me in.
Who and what are we gonna complain about tonight?
You are now.
I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'm digging your wife, she playing my mic. She really so nice, I call her my light. I say we off flight, cause we stay up all night. Bet you ain't know she to take it all tight. Tell her, bend it over, let me take a small bite. Been waiting since October, see that ass fall right. Looking around the room, see passport eyes. And adrenaline feeling like a NASCAR ride. When the people ask about this, your ass gon' lie. Cause the truth is you did what you do in your life. Can't nobody tell you what to do with your life. Girl, gon' turn it over cause I know what you like. It's hard in the color of the asphalt, right? Just lay back and wonder what the past was like. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. While you looking at your panties ripped in half, that's right. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I ain't feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Let me tell you a little something about life. Win, lose or draw, I'm still taking your life. I mean, if you ever wanna fucking come in my sight, you scream like you never screamed in your life. Flip it on over, gon' do it like this. Not riding with a soldier, then you ride against it. Looking from the other side, make your stomach get sick. Every person scheming, thinking he the one to get rich. Ever sit and really think what you would do with one wish? And if you knew afterward, you'd be sleeping with fish. Style will be done, here we come. Bearing gifts, these images make you wanna grab your crucifix. It's getting dark outside, no sleeping past 6. Not living in fear, cause that's really not it. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. If you owe me something, Nick, better give me my shit. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside, I'ma get inside. I'm feeling my life, I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Sliding on in, this is it, instant win. If hip hop broke, put on some, fix it then. Take real life shit, go ahead and mix it in. Not just streets unless that's where you sleeping in. They hungry out there, that's why we eating in. Honestly, don't even let the church thinking in. Blasphemous if you think I'm speaking sin. Survival is a must for all the creatures in. If you feeling life's tough, then you probably need a fin. Have a sucker, popsicle or something, take it in. Sharp teeth, eat meat, origin involvement. Why the UFC give you more than a grin? Why you take a seat when the foraging begin? Why you gotta creep just horn in the wind? I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I'ma stop cause I'm just Al Goring with a pen. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I ain't feeling your side, I ain't feeling your side. I'm feeling alright, I'm feeling alright. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. I'ma get inside, I'm feeling my life. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. You bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gat that spits venom. You sending black, and when the bottom of the ninth in this mag, you police the cat's waxing them back. Waxing them. Back and forth, and you know I'm swinging bows. I'm about to change course, go home and changing clothes. I'm looking at this bitch, it seems like she's saying no. I'ma hit the streets, though I'm supposed to be laying low. I'm following the buzz, never know which way it go. Keep on bringing heat, cause the G.O.D. say it so. Sailing on the beat, so you can't chop and play it so. She got me for a piece, now I'm about to pay the hoe. Stop smoking, switch the sweets, where I gotta take a toke. Now I got a little guac, now I gotta make it grow. Keep on thinking we some hee-haw, ma and pa folks. We gon' hit you in your teeth, we keep a buzz all closed. I've been on it 5 days, so I'm sitting sideways. Now get out of my way, or I'ma hit your Hyundai. Take a lick on my dick if you don't like what I say. I'm the shit with the shit, so we gon' do this my way. And we just getting started, so go on, say your grace. I'ma eat you rappers, though I won't enjoy the taste. I'm closing your estates while you falling on the stakes. I'm rolling on the bass while you rolling on the face. Sitting on the place, not knowing I'ma take your fast, slowing and it's fake. So I'm gonna wait, time will come, down will be done. I saw it and I said that it was great.
Mommy, what does psychotic
Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así. Mueve, muevo, mueve.
Hey, you, we up in the place, we up in the place, we up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake, make your body shake, make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place, we up in the place, we up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake, make your body shake, make your body shake. Hop, hop, jump, skip up on the floor. If they didn't know, then we gon' let them know. Drop low, giving them a show. We gon' give them something that they never seen before. Hop, scotch, 784. Bouncing on the beat while keeping the flow. Stop, watch, freeze and go. Cock-a-doodle-doo is what you eating off the floor. Pop, lock, do it by yourself. You know you the best, you don't need nobody else. Rock, hip, toast to success. You was born a winner, so you never nothing less. Hey, you, we up in the place, we up in the place, we up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake, make your body shake, make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place, we up in the place, we up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake, make your body shake, make your body shake. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti?
Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle,
¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así?
bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle. When we come through, make you move just a little, clap, clap, snap. Do it from the hip. You can do this whether you stand or sit. Pump, fist, do it with your wrist. Pump it back and forth like you trying to catch a fish. Hip, twist, do a finger kiss. Rocking back and forth as you make your body shift. Top, tick, do it like you sick. 2 + 4 is 6, and that's a ripper thick. Top, 6, we gon' let it rip. We got your attention and we not gon' let it slip. So hands up, move your head and know what's up. Now it's shoulders rolling while you showing them your stuff. Hey, you, we up in the place, we up in the place, we up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake, make your body shake, make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place, we up in the place, we up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake, make your body shake, make your body shake. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle,
Dime
wiggle.
qué tú quieres, papi.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, we want you to be an activist. Don't take our word for it. Look that mess up, please. Thank you, God, for this day we have lived. Everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen. Man, the last song that I played is designed to make you want to move. Hopefully that's what it does. Like it makes you want to move, you know? That's what it's all about. And I really wrote that song. Like I spent a lot of time thinking about that song. You know, like it comes across really lame. And the person that I did the song with, she didn't really like the hook. She felt like I should have did the hook differently. And I still kind of question myself on the hook with that song. But I really put a lot of thought in that song. And it's supposed to be for everyone, like all ages, all colors, all creeds, and really, even if you don't have all your limbs, it's for everyone. It's for everyone. If you're in wheelchair bound, I even thought about those people when I was writing this song. I wanted it to be for literally everyone, so I put a lot of thought in it. It should be universal and timeless. I don't know. I don't know. People call that lame. I'm lame. King Chuck Entertainment.
Now, see, I'm the one that's out here getting the fresh pedicure. You see it? Platinum toes out here. Bam! You see it? Yeah, I got the best toes in the primate gang. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that's out here confidently getting his toes done. Bow! As a man, you know what I'm saying? Fellas, get your feet together. Bam! Now, see, I'm the one that's out here getting the fresh pedicure. You see it? Platinum toes out here. Bam! You see it? Yeah, I got the best toes in the primate gang. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that's out here confidently getting his toes done. Bow! As a man, you know what I'm saying? Fellas, get your feet together. Bam!
It's funny. But a lot of that behavior is as a result, as you can see in the background, there's a fence there. I wonder if it's electrified. A lot of that weird behavior that the animals exhibit is a result of their confinements. And it's really, really, really sad. It is what it is, though. You know, I wish people wasn't sold on these zoos like they are. I want to come back to this later, but I'm going to touch on it now. It says, normal person, if the housing market crashes, maybe we can finally find an affordable house. LOL, no. Blackstone is preparing a record 50 billion vehicle to scoop up real estate bargains during the downturn. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but this is something. This is a thing. The caption says, these corporations, y'all, especially the ones, Blackstone, it says, need to start making friends and go in on a property. Another comment. After they buy all property, they will force everyone to move into their free housing structures. Agenda 21. Another comment. It says, this should be against the law. Legislatures help your constituents now. Another comment. Sucks because Blackstone is one of my FA drums. They ruining the name. Former chairman, that's still making money from Blackstone. Jeffrey Kindler also sits on Pfizer Pharma. It's a simple choice, capitalism. Let's decimate the world and profit from it. Personal opinion, it's time for the reckoning. I think so too, buddy. I think so too. If we can get people up out of their damn phones for 5 freaking minutes. They're talking about canceling student debt right there. I'm going to come back to this too. The hourly wage required to afford a 2-bedroom home per state. And I want to come back to this one too, just because school starts. So I think that's a cool little topic. And I'm going to come back to this about Finland. So I'm going to come back to all of that. Where y'all at? Hold on. I don't want to get into this yet. I want to give people time to get in here. So Let's do some scrolling on the Insta. It says the best way to save money is to go in the house and lay down. Man, that's true as fuck. I swear. Every time I leave out the house, I spend money.
That black rainbows go harder for the rainbow than their own race. Why is that? Can somebody please explain to me why it is that black rainbows go harder for the rainbow than their own race? Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe because they identify with a certain group. Like, not everybody identifies with these labels that have been given to them. Some people identify with their own labels that they've given to themselves. It's really about like a community that they really feel like they're a part of. So maybe they don't feel like they're a part of that community that you think that they are. That's the answer to your question. Man, this truck flew off the freaking overpass, bro. The wind blew a truck off the freaking overpass, bro. I'll be thinking about this, man, and it's like, the guy probably didn't do anything wrong. That's so fucked up. Man, was he in? It looks like he fell out of the car. Yeah, he came out of it. That's so fucked up. And then he walked away. Fuck. Truck is all fucked up. What do you do in this situation? He's just trying to do his job. It's a rainstorm came through Houston today. Super windy. And it was like all of a sudden, boom. So, but what I think is you pull over, right? You give it some time, man. Especially if you felt the truck moving and shit. Pull over. Let the freaking storm pass. You're going to be late. At least, but now the cargo ain't gonna make it. The truck all fucked up. You could have died. I don't want to play the sound. I'm gonna get a copyright for it. That's fucked up. Fucked up situation, man. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Keep on driving. You got a little bit of wind on there. You felt the tires pick up a little bit. The storm gonna pass. It's gonna pass. I'm just gonna drive through the storm. Man, but maybe pulling over might be the worst decision because you might be sitting right in the worst part of it, waiting for it to pass. It's a tough decision, man. Them damn overpasses. What can they do to help to keep from that happening? Could they build up bigger like side medians or something on the sides where it could fall over onto the oncoming traffic? A lot of people could have got hurt. Let me read this. It says, if Jeff Bezos gave away 0.7% of his wealth, he could give every Amazon employee $1,000. With 1.9% of his wealth, he could pay for pre-K for every U.S. child for a year. With 8.7%, we could pay for a year's supply of insulin for diabetics. This is why we need to tax billionaires. That's Robert Wright. Made a post here. It was a tweet. Somebody reposted. He's unemployed and uses you. Wait, what does it say? Why are you so obsessed with him? I don't know. Crazy, I would say. What advice would you give a child whose parent is spending years in prison? A comment, it says, don't let their physical location make you resentful and disconnected. Keeping those lines of communication open with letters, visits, and phone calls go a long way. Use their story, circumstance to rise above and not repeat the choices that got them there. Another comment, keep the communication going no matter what. Another comment, it says, it's not your fault. You aren't responsible for your parents or parents' action. It's going to hurt. Rough days are ahead. Just keep your head up. Stick to the remaining family members and friends who are there for you. You will overcome this. Don't hate your parent or parents. Forgive them. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Dang, I suck at this. They said, don't hate. Damn it, I lost it. Oh, don't hate your parents or parents. Forgive them so you can heal and grow. It says, he, she is still your father, mother, and they still possess the wisdom, knowledge, and love for you. You miss them, but they miss everybody. Pictures, letters, and answering the phone goes a long way. Adversity molds you into who you are. Hold your head. Live for your mother or father, speaking from experience. It says, every action holds a consequence, and sometimes it can land you there. And we got to stand on principles. You ever need someone to talk to, come see me. Don't get mad if pops don't want you to visit. A lot of men don't want their kids having to go through that. Keep communicating with them and remember that they love you. Both of my parents been locked up in my lifetime, and the best advice I've ever got from my parents was when they was behind bars, because now that I'm a parent, I can understand they never wanted to come visit me in a jumpsuit and chains. So remember what they telling you. Keep your head up, and it's okay to cry. It's a sad situation. I don't really have comments on that. Having a parent that's away for whatever reason is devastating to a child. I think as a community, back in the past, historically, we dealt with those situations a lot better than we do now. And it's because we go at this thing so individually. And then what's worse than that, we got these parents who like, you can't say nothing to don't say nothing to my child, But what they say, it takes a village. It takes a village, the community together, So whenever it's a situation where there's a parent that's away, or can't provide or whatever, instead of going into this state-sponsored system where they end up getting mistreated if they're lucky. Instead of that, we have the community come together and we help those kids, other parents come in, you don't have to take on the role completely yourself, but as a community, we can all do a little and it'll go a long way for that child. What's up, Pat?
What's up?
How you feeling, man?
Feeling pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I can't complain. Another day above ground.
Hey, keep them coming.
Yep. And another day to accomplish whatever the hell, Alive here in the now, that's the best place to be. Where else would you want to be?
I could probably think of a few places, but I'm gonna go with where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it is a crazy world we live in. I feel like we are on a precipice of some kind of like worldwide revolution. I think they've been suppressing it for years. It's just been bubbling and simmering.
Yeah, that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, who knows which way it'll go? Because, we can end up with like a real totalitarian world government, just like this shit that they're talking about that everybody's like scared of. It could totally happen, and everybody would agree to it. And that's what's so crazy. Did you see the clips?
Everybody wouldn't agree to it, but
a lot of people would.
Because there's a lot of people that's been fighting against it and telling everybody, "Hey, wake the fuck up!" Like if you know what I'm saying, like.
But it'll come in a way that don't look like what they think it is. It'll appear to be something else, but it'll be a totalitarian world government, and we'll just look at it as something else.
Potentially, I mean, I think that something like that would more likely come, with those tactics of fears, we're saving your life, like we're,
right,
kind of like what they've been doing, and then, they've already kind of prepped you by, shit they probably already have the shit already set up and ready to go. Just
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Did you see the thing with the chip in the person's hand that for Amazon? I don't know if I have that clip. I'll probably have to pull that up because I don't have that stored. But did you see that?
I think when I was watching the show on replay today, or what I could watch, I heard you mentioned it. I didn't see it outside of that. Did you talk about it a little bit last night or something?
Did I talk about it? I don't know if I did. I don't remember talking about that. Okay, I got it. I pulled it up. Let me share this. Since I mentioned it, I gotta share it. It sounds less than 2 minute video. I don't even know where I saw this.
Amazon is trying to muscle its way into your digital wallet.
Amazon is ramping up its contactless payment system nationwide that works by scanning the palm of your hand right there. Kit Doe takes it for a test drive.
So the new payment systems have been rolling out across the country for the past year. Finally, here in the Bay Area, we get our very first one, and it launched this morning.
You really gotta hand it to Amazon.
Will you be paying with your palm today?
For trying to put the future of payments right in the palm of your,
Okay, right there, perfect.
It's called Amazon One, a new contactless payment system that launched for the first time in Northern California at their store in Santana Row. To sign up, first insert a credit card and then hold your hand over the special camera. It'll scan the lines, ridges, and even pattern of veins inside your hand. The algorithm then creates a unique palm signature. The whole process takes about a minute.
And you can just hold your hand right over it?
Tommy Alas was the first person in the Bay Area to sign up.
What do you think?
I think it was really cool, very convenient form of payment, just quick and easy.
Liz Gonzalez thinks the new technology could come in handy.
That was easy. There you go.
People like me, I'm very forgetful. I always forget my credit card or my watch, and now I don't need to remember to bring my palm.
If anyone can make this popular, it'll be Amazon.
Ian Scher with CNET says all signs point to this new technology as being safe and reliable. In the past year, the company has rolled out the palm scanners to 60 locations around the country, including mobile ticketing for a concert venue in Denver and a number of Whole Foods locations. But for consumers, old habits die hard.
The reality is that a lot of introducing new technology is convincing people to use it. And how much easier is it to use than just pulling out my credit card and paying that way? But we Americans are very hesitant to jump on this stuff. And so I am curious to see whether or not it's really going to end up going anywhere with us, or whether we're going to wait until some other technology comes along.
In San Jose.
What you think? Oh shit, I lost you. Back. Did you hear that?
Talking about the lady. I'm always forgetting my phone and my watch.
Yeah.
She was a paid actor.
I don't have to forget my palm. Man, this society they reward you for being, incompetent.
Bro, today is my son's second day of school, right? Why they one of this classes is talking about digital citizen.
Okay, digital citizen. What does that mean?
Of course, I pulled it up earlier. It was it's pretty much you operate, because I think on a mild side we're looking at where, like, okay, how to deal with people online and your etiquette, like just being nice to people. I guess it's since they're online and whatever, but I could see where it could get to be much deeper than that, because especially with the whole multiverse, going into these different worlds where you could become a citizen of some of these places. I could see it being much deeper than what they're expressing it or explaining it now. But yeah, kind of, it's one of those things that's kind of like, oh shit, here they go. Trying to work on my son. They're not doing the shit that some of these democratic cities are doing, but they're still trying to indoctrinate.
Like that, I want to be a citizen in the digital verse. I want to be in the metaverse. I want to buy some digital real estate.
Yeah.
Well, shit, I don't know enough about that stuff to even really make comments. I ain't gonna lie. Yep, I can't really say. I don't know. I would have to see what the hell they're talking about or whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, I've learned different things. Like they got stuff called dials. Like there's things that you could really start an entire life inside of this digital world. The online, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then form to some extent, you really see it as being real because, they got the Oculuses. Invite your friend and y'all going and hanging out in these different little lands. I mean, really, the biggest setup for all of that is like Fortnite and what's the other one they play a lot of?
Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I guess that could. I mean, of course, I'm sure they can figure out. They can get that in. Now I'm talking about it's a blocks.
Roblox.
Roblox, yeah. Like that's the beginners section of.
Yeah, they're training them for something with that shit. And Kenzie's always on that. My youngest is always on that game.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like the way the kids use it. It's like, and what I noticed with a lot of the games, they do it with all the games. They really just like use it as a way to talk to their friends. Like they just be talking to their friends, and they're playing the game together. It's just like because that's what I noticed. Like in a lot of the games, because like Roblox isn't all that competitive. Like a lot of the games, the kids don't even want real like competition. Like they just kind of want to just get on there and talk to their friends and kind of goof around. That's kind of what they do with the games. That's weird to me because the way I play a game,
But I think that's what the creators want too.
Yeah, like how they design some of them, because Fortnite is that, like, it's just you goof off the whole time. Like, there's no real skills involved, really. It's just random. But
pretty much, I mean, the skills in building, I guess, is somewhat useful. But I mean,
yeah, for the most part, I was watching my son play it and playing it a lot, and I was like, man, this game don't have no real like.
I mean, I couldn't really get into a lot of these games. I mean, you get me on some Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's what I play. And that's what I'm saying, though. The games aren't like about competition where like the best one wins. The person who has the most skills in the game, the better player wins. These games are just random as hell. And they don't build any skills in any kind of real way. Like, the world is about competition, whether you want to like it or not. You know what I'm saying? The winner
maybe that's
wins.
the kind of world that they're trying to build away from that, and but it won't be like, because I mean the thing is that they won't be doing it actually out in the world. They'll be prepping them to do it in digital world instead of having camaraderie with each other and working together and doing things in the real world. They'll have them do that in the digital world, which is insane to me. Because if you're going to do this,
maybe it's for jobs. You know, I think I'll be thinking about that, and then like
Eventually, I believe it's all going to end up that way.
right. So like
You know, for
the
a lot of people.
drones, the warfare, you know, these games, some of the games that the kids play, it'll be perfect. If did you see? I played it yesterday. It was a clip of a little robot drone that had a rocket launcher on his back. You know what I'm saying? And it walked on four
Oh yeah,
legs.
the little dog. You
Yeah.
talking about the little dog? Yeah.
Yeah. So freaking, you know, what I'm thinking is like, okay, these kids are playing these Call of Duty games and stuff like that, right? But what if they're playing the game and it's a real person because they, you know, well, they're training them for at that. You get what I'm saying? It'll be like that. It's a war going on, but they're freaking controlling a freaking avatar that's out there, actually out there shooting and killing.
Very well could be. But you know, I've thought about that it could be been doing that years ago, but I don't know. I think that was just in my twisted mind, but I could see how it could really happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And because it's all drone warfare now, and it's like somebody has to fly those drones, and when the drones turn into like robots, somebody got to guide them shits. Yep. And a person that was really good at Call of Duty would automatically be good at controlling those drones like that.
Well,
They
see,
might even
that's
make
the
the
thing.
controls just like the damn video game, just like the Xbox or PlayStation controller to control the drone.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you really think about it, you know, I'm even here, like some of these people talking like, you know, at some point, I heard somebody say earlier today actually that at some point robots are gonna have rights.
That's what
And
this.
that kind of,
That's what that show that I've been watching is kind of exploring. Westworld is exploring that idea, and more than rights, being up there with humans, like you know, like the same.
I guess, because I mean, you know, there's even some, you know, I've heard in the recent past how some of these people are leaving behind their consciousness for the robots.
And they explored that in the show. That's a crazy idea, you know. And then you know, because people are saying they said already in the Science Journal that in sometime in the near future that they may be able to have the technology to for humans to live forever. So then, like, what does that mean? You know, what are the people are going to look like? They're going to be robotic? Are they going to have like, you know, synthetic organs or something like, or does it mean that they're going to be able to upload your consciousness into the some kind of software?
Yeah, I think they're looking at it more that way. But I mean, I think just like with any operating system, there's a way to. I mean, honestly, we are the ultimate. Like all of it would be them replicating humans,
and that's what they're
if you really
doing.
look at, yeah, if you really think about it, and I mean actually like replicating, like to some extent. I mean, you know, they never get to the highest level of.
It's gonna always be a
like,
copy.
Yeah, it's always gonna be a copy because I mean, if you really think about it, our connection with the universe, the ultimate minds, is us. Like what we're saying and doing every day is not a new thought or like us actually our own thought. It's a program. Like you think about like where it's you know, it comes through us, but this is something that we're playing out through the ultimate mind, that one mind. Like we're all kind of like Wi-Fi connected to the universe.
So, but
Where
if you're,
but
that's what they said. I agree with you, but that's what they said in the show too. That is, you know, that it would always be a copy. But then, can that copy have a connection to the infinite mind? You know, That's a question.
I mean, you broke up a little bit. Can you go?
I said,
Go back 2 seconds.
what if that copy, could that copy possibly have a connection to the universe? The copy of its consciousness was not exact, but maybe enough to have a connection.
Well, they have to create its own mind, or another way for it to connect to a different mind, because the universe has, like, I don't think it's set up for it to tap in. Like, I mean, yeah, it can program itself from hearing what's happening through the universal mind, to simulate. I mean, that's the only thing it can do. Like, it has already, the universe has already created the beings, the different, I guess, bots, if you would, its own human bots. But the humans are creating something to simulate what the universe is creating. So even on a physical level, I mean, not just on the physical level, even for its own mind, the source in which its thoughts comes from is still from it's gonna always still be a secondary form.
Yeah, but I have to ask the question, like, who are the robots? And then with us being stuck in our own loops, like I'd be saying, I call people zombie robots all the time, and disconnected from nature. These people are disconnected from the universal mind, right?
Yeah, but most of those people, I don't think one thing, it'll seem as though the human replication is more superior, because it's taking thoughts and actions from the top class, or the smarter of the crew. It's not everybody doesn't have its own individual way of thinking, or going through different processes to learn, where they are, to get to the point of life that they are now, those segments of growth. So, I mean, that's going to be the biggest, thing that they would have to try to, be able to copy, is how somebody else took their journey. Like, there's no real life learning journey for the computer, other than the fact that it's replicating thoughts and processes and things that's already been done by humans.
Let me read some comments underneath the video that I played. It says, what's next? Retinal scan? Eventually, Amazon is going to have all the biometric data of its customers. That's something to think about. Because that's what was happening in the show. I keep going back to the damn show, but the whole point of the park that these people were going to was for these corporations to gather data from these people. They were gathering their whole DNA and fucking copying people and shit. So it's like, this comment says, what's next? Retinal scan? Eventually, Amazon is going to have all the biometric data of its customers. Like, it's gonna know your shopping habits. It knows your internet habits. It knows, what you like, what you don't like. It knows what your fingerprints look like. It knows what your handprints and your eye, your voice.
Well, Apple already has it. Pretty much everybody's phone pretty much has it already. I mean, you got face recognition on your phone.
And the fingerprints, all that.
Yeah, I mean, you might not really be using fingerprints, but I mean, shoot, really, they got everything. They got your eyes, your face, like your likeness is already being used on the digital level.
Man, that's crazy. Let me read some more comments. It says, how complicated was it to pay before? People are idiots giving their data to a giant corporation. Wind the clock back 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Do you ever remember that paying with cash or credit cards or checking being especially difficult? I never saw it as a problem that needed any type of solution. Yeah. Let me read it some
Yeah,
more.
it wasn't. But I mean, once you do get used to the new, like the convenience, they have made it. It is a way more convenient to do it the way we're doing it now,
Yeah,
opposed to.
checks suck. I hate checks.
Bro, I said, bro, I love looking at my phone, being able to just get on my phone, I'm looking in my bank. I can look at, different accounts within seconds, and within a minute, I can look at, these different things, and decide from what direction I want to go from.
Right, and you
And
got real time information too.
exactly. So it's like how there's no way that we'll go back to checks and whatever else, like cash. I mean, I like cash. You know what I'm saying? You know, shit. But at the same time, but that's just as a blanket. You know what I'm saying? A security blanket that, okay, just in case, shoot, just even if my card won't swipe, not necessarily that the system went down, but just on the idea that, okay, my card may not work. I mean, after I done used it so many times, I'm wearing it out. But now, shoot, even with the card, like that's even less likely to happen, because even if you swipe it so much, and that bar, that little thing on the back of your card starts to, get overused. There's something inside of that card where you can just lay it on the machine, and it'll recognize it just from that.
Yeah. Let me read some more, because so technology improving has good and bad points, basically. I mean, let me read some more. It says, oh my goodness, turns out the conspiracy theorists weren't wrong. Let me read some more.
About what? I mean, we write about most of the shit we be telling people, but like
yeah, it just takes time. Let me read some more. It says, faceless masks, compliant consumers. I'd wager some of them would get chipped if offered for faster checkout. He said, faceless masked, compliant consumers. I'd wager some of them would get chipped if offered for faster checkout.
Man, they'll be waiting in line like, oh my God, I can't wait. It's so awesome. Bro, this chick I was dating, I was talking with her son, and like he's like can't wait for the chips in the head. He wants that kind of shit, like being able to put a chip in his skull, or to give his, like he said, like, I guess trying to live forever. Like, bro, like, what's wrong with nature? Why is nature that bad? Like, I mean, I think having a balance in between is what is gonna really be safe. I mean,
we talk about the light and the dark. How do you enjoy life without death?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's my whole point with Tim, was like, bro, like, I mean, if you're not, because I mean, I think a lot of it, because he's a millennial, and not to say that all millennials think this way, but I think are this way, but I think to some extent they're just lazy. They're like, they'd rather not work or do, like, what I'm saying, whatever seems to be the easiest thing. I could see a bunch of them giving up, like end up back into some form of slavery, because I could see where, all right, because I mean, of course we know slavery isn't just based on, the physical, like that's more, it's more psychological, it's more, mental than it is anything else. So if they're able to be trapped on the web where their mind is working and doing things and creating and what I'm saying, all these different things that, I mean, you could practically do, yourself, just because you're online, you already, like where your thoughts happen, it's gonna, you're gonna give pretty much a lot of power to the digital program or whatever world that you're in, just because you had that thought while you were in their licensed work. You know what I'm saying? So
I think
I can
I
see
think
I can
I
see
think it's the separation though. I don't think it's laziness. I think it's that there's, and they're separated. They're separated from, nature, reality. It's like, because if you think about life and death, in the aspect that death is a part of life, like you can't separate the two. You know what I mean? Like when you look at the light and the dark, you can appreciate the light because of the dark. You can appreciate life because of death, but they're not different. They're not separate from each other. It's one thing.
Yeah, and I mean it will always be that, but at the same time, um, it's just like, okay, to some extent, I look at it like they're really trying to go back to the days where, like, we had, we communicated through telepathy, or we didn't have to be in front of each other or in the same room in order for us to communicate and do this, that, and the other, which is already kind of there. But was it any different than what we're talking about now through the computer and this, that, and the other, or was it something, when we hear about it from ancient times, that supposedly existed, was it more of a spiritual, or was this just the same technology that we're going through now that they were using then?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the question that arises for me. Because I mean, it could have been either way. I mean, it could have been a natural, just full telepathy, or was it them communicating through, some tech? I mean, what if there was some kind of warp through the matrix that was still like the technology that they're creating, but they found a way to still use those. I can't think of what's the right terminology for it, but I don't know. Like I said, I still have a lot of questions about it. Like, I would love to be in a position to learn these things of what's really, what is the real technology. Because like I said, I believe that with our society, like the ancient societies, were probably way more smarter than we are now today. So if we're here where we are and they're smarter, then a lot of the things that's available to us were available to them. As saying, it's nothing new underneath the sun.
Yeah.
You
I
know what I'm
want
saying? So
I
go ahead.
want to touch on a couple quick topics before I go, because I got some other stuff I want to talk about, but I got a couple quick topics. This one, it says, normal person, if the housing market crashes, maybe we can finally find an affordable house. It says, LOL, no. It says, Blackstone is preparing a record 50 billion vehicle to scoop up real estate bargains during the downturn. So what do you think about that? Is Blackstone is the company, $50 billion. They know, it's going to be a dip, and they're just going to sweep in and use that money to buy a bunch of houses.
You don't want to really know what I think about that.
Okay.
I'm not prepared to say any, some cute answer.
All right, I got another one. It says, I'm a social worker. I left graduate school 20 years ago with over 52,000 in student loans. I've made every payment since and still owe 42,000. It's almost all gone to interest. I've paid 48,000 but still owe 42,000. Cancel student debt. What do you think?
Man, that was such a gangster move what they did there.
Telling you, man. Telling you. It's when it seemed like a good idea, right? When they came out with the all the student loans and stuff, it gives the people opportunities to go to school and stuff, for financial aid and all of this. But then you hear stories like this.
And then like it's almost like the whatchamacallit is like their watch. Like they're just steadily watching it just tick, the little ticks that they're making in payments, and like seem to be getting nowhere fast. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the part that seems so hurtful. Like even to me, like I feel this person's pain to some extent, because like just the description of what they're saying, like it just took a whole new light for me. So, but because I mean, I've been I like, that's not my situation, nowhere close to it. Like, but I've had student loans and I've paid them off and this, that, and the other. Bro, there's a way to get out of it.
Yeah.
You just got to get real creative. You got to, you know what I'm saying, really think outside the box. But at the same time, I kind of think of telling people, screw it. But I mean, I don't know what kind of plans people have and what they can do or not do.
They'll start taking it. They'll start garnishing it. It's the federal government. They'll find whatever income you got and start chipping at that shit, or just taking it off.
Oh well, yeah. You see, they're hiring all of these IRS agents. Did you see the video I sent you?
I probably didn't. I've been working all week.
Man,
what was it?
Now it looked very real, but it could have been something that somebody mocked up or whatever. But it looked like those IRS agents that they're hiring for is getting trained with guns. It almost looked like they was going through like a police academy type thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's real, because that's what it said in the thing. That was part of the thing. They said that they have to be trained. I don't know, and that's what everybody was screaming about. So,
well, I think one of the things that
like
because I know the senator from Idaho was trying to get them to put in an amendment that they were not going, they was going to, just like they promised before this bill, that they would not go after anyone that made less than $400,000 a year.
But they was lying.
And they're lying. Like they wouldn't, they would not sign that. Like they wouldn't.
Yeah.
So like that was the whole time. It's like they're taking the money that they've already gotten from you, or creating new money to be able to come after you. Like, I mean,
yep. And
bro,
it's gonna be like cops. They're gonna be like cops, just pulling up and hopping out and on your ass on some tax shit, tax situation. Like, damn, I'm a criminal, bro. They're gonna charge you with RICO. Have you in there sitting next to one of them rappers.
If you think about it, for people who's been gamers and buy different things and these different games, whether it's Fortnite, Call of, like the in-game purchases and stuff, you're already dealing with crypto. That is crypto. And for some people, being able to go in these different worlds, they're buying these different, avatars and, guns and, whatever the cool shit is. Like these things are actually, I could see how they might try to tax you in the real world for this crypto that you're using within the digital world.
Yeah.
That's where it looks like it could be going.
And they're just training us for it. Let me.
Because that's one of the things that Biden has been upset about. It's not just those people who were going out there, with the hustle, like the gig economy type thing. It was a lot of these people who that might have taken some of this PPP money and invested it, or taken the what's the money y'all got for
the stimulus check?
The stimulus money, and whether depending, some of them had a nice chunk of cheese because some of them got a few kids and whatever, and they might have compiled their money together. But it's a bunch of people who are millionaires now that used that money, invested it, did the right, did some good things with it. Now, they're millionaires but they're on most of them are on a decentralized platform. So that's why they want to try to take the decentralization from, like, they want to centralize pretty much crypto too. They don't want you to have anything outside of where they can monitor and control.
Yeah. Let me read this. It says hourly wage required to afford a 2-bedroom rental home. So it's like in California, it's $39. They're saying this is the hourly wage required to afford a 2-bedroom rental home. $39 in California, $34 in New York, $28 in Colorado, Florida is $25, Texas $22. And it goes down. Tennessee is $18. The lowest one, PR. What is PR? Puerto Rico? It's $10. And the next one up from that is Arizona at $15.
What's the minimum wage in Puerto Rico?
Shit.
$4, $5.
Don't get me to lie. Yeah, so
because I guarantee you, whatever it is, it's not where it should be across the board. Like, I mean, everywhere, like the system is set up the same no matter what. And I mean, Puerto Rico is just another American, place. So I wouldn't expect it to be any different anywhere, really.
Yeah. So, but it sucks. That's part of the pinch, right? Like, you got all these homeless people. You got these people struggling. Why does it cost so much for a house?
Well, see, but to me, like, that's one of the reasons why a lot of this stuff has to change. I mean, and when I say change, at the most serious way that I can say it, you know what I'm saying? Like, the people who are in power needs to be dethroned.
Yeah.
With no chance of, you know what I'm saying, like, and the people needs to come rebuild their republic, maybe without capitalism, have a socialist republic to some extent. We still need people that's gonna work, but you know what I'm saying,
some kind of mix of it.
Yeah, we gotta do something, because I mean, we see through the lens of a democratic republic, that things can, like really we're real on, like if we just had the right management, we would be fine. Even with capitalism, it's just that the greed goes too far.
Yeah.
And I think because the part to me, if when our government is moving like in harmony with the rest of the world, the rest of the country at the least, but the fairness, and let's just say you don't want to take taxes from the rich, the corporations, and this, that, and the other. No, you don't have to. If you're going to subsidize these countries or these companies, you need to get a dividend from these companies because you're investing in them. You know what I'm saying? So one way or the other, there has to be a way for them to pay without it being any kind of harm to anybody. Because I get the whole idea that corporations provide jobs for the people, but I mean, it's a bad cycle that's going on now. The system is screwed because you steadily have people who are starving that work for the corporations, and you just gave the corporation the money that the people could be using for something else. Like it's just, I don't know. Like I said, we just need better management. Like there's countries all over the world that has the same kind of system, but they're just, I mean, Libya, but before they got rid of Gaddafi, I mean, it was kind of set up that way. Like the people didn't even shoot. A lot of people didn't even have to do. Like they could have hired people from all over the country, all over the world, to come and do the most of the work if they wanted. But I don't know. I know I'm just kind of wishing on a star.
Well, I think I agree with you, and hopefully it's not a wish, because other countries. Let me read this. It says, in Finland, charging fees for tuition is illegal, which means rich kids have to mix with normal kids, which means rich families had to make sure the school their kid went to was good, which meant the rich were prompted to invest in public schools. Finland, take a bow. That's what this says. Finland has been in the news a lot lately because it's a chick. They got stuff going on over there. But this is interesting. What do you think about this?
Say what?
I said, what do you think about that? Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, in this country, the poorest of the poor is the rich. I mean, if the monies that they usurp from the people was just used properly. You know what I'm saying? If the funds were just managed properly, things would be so much better for everybody. Like I mean, it wouldn't even matter. Almost wouldn't matter. I mean, of course, we need a certain minimum wage or whatever, but if the funds were just managed the right way, shoot, there probably wouldn't be any homeless people. Like I mean, we would be able to manage, inflation to where it's almost none. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no, like if there's any growth, it's not no 6%. It's maybe 1% or half of a percent per decade. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's like, I mean, like I said, I mean, a lot of it is kind of just wishing on a star, because I mean, we've empowered people to be custodians of this what we call the government, and they're just screwing it off.
Yeah. Let me read some comments. It says, the logic in this is shocking. That's what the first comment. The next one says, the problem that we have in this country is we do a lot of categorizing. Let me read another comment. I agree with that comment that you made.
Breaking up a bit.
Let me read some more. It says that's a civilized society. We're going backwards in all ways. In USA, anyone at any age can obtain a war quality weapon and go hunting, people claiming it was self-defense. Another one, it says it also has to do with the neighborhoods. That's really what affects who is in your school and who you mix with. I think that goes back to the other comment the other guy said about categorizing. It says another comment. It says,
I hope.
Go ahead.
I hope the people can hear you clearly because I'm hearing you going in and out.
I hope it's not. My internet, my phone was acting kind of weird a minute ago. I don't know. Maybe the rain that came through. Another comment. It says, I think their population is primarily white, which is a factor I would think. Another comment. The same should happen in the U.S. The way we treat poor people is disgraceful. Yep. Let me get into it. We're an hour in. I like to get into the show at about an hour. The name of the show today is Use Things, Love People. So, that's the way it should be. But in our society, it seems like we love things and use people. You know, we use people and we love things. What do you think about that?
You said that we love things and we use people.
Yeah.
You know, even like I had this thing ever since I was a kid where, you know, I mean, of course, I don't necessarily see it that, you know, that's a healthy thing to just, you know, especially the way it's said, you know, the average person sees it more like, okay, damn, that's, you know, using people is a bad thing. But I mean, I think that's a part of what life is. I mean, not use somebody to the point to where, like, you know, we're supposed to be able to use each other. We're supposed to count on each other. You know what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily see using people as a bad thing. Of course it can be, but I don't really see it necessarily that way. But in comparison, I guess the way you make that statement, you know, if it's a either or, yeah, I would rather use things. And why I forgot the use things and
love people.
Love people. So I mean, and I think for the most part, because I mean, I do both. I love people and I love things, and I use people and I use things. So I mean, I have a balanced way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah,
but I mean, but the people that I mean, because most the people that I use love it.
They just want to be used. Well, I think the point of the line is the idea of objectifying people. You know,
yeah, because but they get to use me too. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like, they're able to use me too.
I get it. I get what you're saying. But the point of it is the idea of objectifying people, you know, treating people as things, like, you know, and actually having more value for things than people, you know?
Yeah. Now, I assume that's kind of the direction that you know what you were looking at, but I don't know. I had to, you know, I had to throw my you know, but is do you really think that's a more common thing where people use people and love things more than they love people and use things?
Yes, I think people are objectified in our society for the most part. I mean, maybe when we go home we feel different, but when we're in the world and when we're going through our job, we're doing our thing, you know, the society kind of forces you to have that attitude or that way of looking at things, like totally using people like they could just be a chair or a bed to you. They could be the dresser. You know, you use them to put stuff on top of it.
Yeah, but you know, I think a lot of times we continue ourselves on this three-dimensional plane based on our perception of our world. But because I mean, based on how we see our world is really based on your how you know the level of consciousness that you really possess. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't like it's kind of hard to explain, but I think that people are really because of how they see it, the way that they perceive what's going on in their lives, really, you know, either catapults them to a higher being within the three-dimensional world, or it really diminishes where they could be. Like it blocks the vision, like it blocks them from really seeing the world for what it could be. You know, but I don't know. It's like I said, it's kind of hard for me to explain.
To have gotten harder and harder.
Well, I want to explain this. I want to explore this more. I got a little video. Let me see. I don't know if I can play all this intro. And just stop me when you want to make a comment, because this is what we're talking about here. Let me go back. Okay.
Is this your movie thing that you're watching?
Nuh-uh. This is just a YouTube video. It says The Collapse of Modern Civilization by Richard Grannon. That's the name of it. Hold on, let me read the caption. Is there a caption? No caption. Well, it gives you the breakdown of it. We're not going to play the whole thing, so I'm just going to play a bit of the beginning.
Don't you know it's everything is a modern civilization, even ancient ones?
Yeah.
Because when people are there, it was modern times.
Right. Now it's forever. It's the infinite
You know
now.
what I'm saying?
So they felt like they were in the future. We live in the future. That's what I be saying all the time. All right, let me play this, and then just let me know when you want to make comments.
Run out of narrative. We don't know what we're doing. We have now completely lost our way. I'm not sure that greed is good, but greed is. It's kind of a evolutionary software fault that humans have. We're stuck with it. It developed out of a positive drive. You should take more than you need. If you're going on a long journey and you don't know if there'll be food,
It must
on the
be
way,
my phone.
take food with you.
I don't know because I'm hearing a bunch of breaking up.
It's breaking up on you. I can't. I would read it. I'm gonna play some more. Let me know if you can't hear it or not.
You don't know when your next meal is going to come. Eat more than you need. Store it. Keep it in you. As above, so below. As within, so without. We store within our body extra energy that we don't burn up. And so we need to store food. We need to store resources. Then there's an impulse to take more than we need. And we call this greed. But I think it has a justifiable evolutionary drive. But that evolutionary hangover, that little human software fault that we've developed from evolving in extremely low resource and difficult environments, like all little human software faults, can be exploited. We're doing it to each other. We're doing it to ourselves because you can. And through exploiting other people's greed, you can feed your own desire for excess, your own hunger for more. And by that principle, consumer capitalism was born. Not that you will buy what it is that you need, but that you will buy what it is that you want. And the more you want, the more you buy. And so it was of benefit, it was of profit to gain that excess capital, that excess wealth, to provoke greed and lust and envy in people, to fuel the very economy itself. And you frame it in these dramatic terms, it sounds like some sort of evil empire. Maybe. It is what it is. It is what it is. Our economy doesn't function without greed, without lust, without envy. It behooves the people who are in power, who are in control, the heads of corporations and the boards behind them, to inspire envy and to inspire greed in people.
Are you getting any of that? You there, Pat?
Nah, it's breaking up bad on me.
I'm gonna go to the comments underneath the video.
I think it's where I am. I'm over here, like right outside, like what is it, Orange, Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the truck stop, and it's just it usually does suck when I'm over this way. But it was doing good for a while.
The truck stop don't have a Wi-Fi? It don't reach where you at?
Sometimes. Probably really would need to go inside and use it in order to get more of a consistent connection.
Yeah. Let me read some comments. This comment underneath that video. It says, fun fact, between the 12th and 15th centuries in Europe, the average peasant could support his entire family by working only 14 weeks per year. The remainder of the year, he was free to do as he pleased, and many of them would donate their labor to the construction of cathedrals of the time. It was a period with a relatively high standard of living for the average person, which is very much counter to the narrative we are often told about it. We have all been lied to on a massive scale about almost everything. Man.
Been lied to on a massive scale that what?
He said about almost everything.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, a lot of things, like even I think for even like you and I, who's cracking the code on a lot of things, still like we don't see it all.
Definitely not. Let me read some more. It says, epic. Richard is one of the first public figures with the courage to connect character disorders with the larger social problem we face today. This work is beautiful, making it unbelievably digestible. Much gratitude. Another comment, the more time I spend in therapy, the more I am confirmed in my belief that it's not I who needs all that therapy, but the rest of the world. My failure to adapt to this sickness and dysfunction is a testament to my sanity, and not the other way around. But I suffer the consequences, the loneliness, the meaninglessness that comes with my ostracism from any culture or human connection. The culture is the phone. The connection is through the screen. It is a void of humanity as candy is of nutrition. Touching comment, my sentiments. I feel you, Garrett. Sure, I feel you a lot, brother. Let me read some more. It says, as someone who's had a psychosis, I can say from my experience that you don't realize you're in a psychosis until after you're out of it. It just seems so logical and rational how reality becomes skewed and being the real reality and the real truth of things. It makes so much sense when you're in it. Once you're out of it is when you realize just how messed up you were. We need to figure out what our trigger is. It could be something physical. For me, cigarettes was messing me up. I could be sugar in all processed foods. It could be something else. I don't think the internet and phones are our major issue, but a mere cog in the problem with the echo chambers it creates. But I'm not fully convinced that echo chambers are the issue either. They're how cultures develop and spread. You build communities on like-mindedness. The problem comes from being too stubborn and closed-minded. Yep. Couple more comments. I really want to play some more of this video. Let me read some more comments. It says, what an urgent and important topic to explore in our immoral, mentally ill, confused, purposeless, isolated, consumerist society. Separate thanks for the solution and optimism at the end. Another comment. I love being affirmed that I am not stupid. I am not clueless. I am not naive. I am not lost. I have been saying all of this for years. I have had the exact conversations, asked my peers these difficult questions and ideas. I knew I would love this video. Great work, Richard. Another comment. I think this is a great assessment of the history of civilization and of the current state of Western society in general. However, I offer only one major critique. Your understanding of masculinity seems to be coming from a specific niche, narrow approach, and I would say that unbridled masculinity that is not guided by logic, reason, is extremely dangerous and closely aligned with how you have chosen to describe masculinity in general. I contrast, however, a man that acts upon his masculinity in accordance with natural law and guided by reason, I dare say morals and virtue, is one that is extremely necessary to every level of civilization. Masculinity that is properly ordered is what holds most societies together. Ordered masculinity can be violent, but it is violent only when it needs to be, and that is, it seeks to protect, guard that which is held most sacred, family, children, marginalized. I would say that man needs to be sharpened and tied in order to perfect this level of masculinity, but when properly ordered towards the good of the other and the good of society, masculinity is truly valuable and necessary and not as violent as some think it is. That's a great comment. Great comment. You there, Pat? I want to play some more of this video.
Yeah, I'm here.
Am I breaking up to you still?
I'm hearing you clear right now, but I didn't get all of the what was said before.
Yeah, they were talking about masculinity, talking about how, because he must have said something bad about masculinity in this video, and they were saying that, you know, ordered masculinity is a good thing, and I completely agree with them. I think that our society, you know, like just like you were saying earlier about capitalism, it's not that necessarily capitalism is bad, it's just the way that it's being done is bad. So then the same thing with when they say toxic masculinity, because it's toxic now, because you can have toxic femininity too, but we tend to focus on the masculine side. It's like, oh, bombs blowing up, killing people, you know. But the comment was saying that, you know, we need that element. It just needs to be ordered. It needs to be for the right reasons, you know. It's balance.
Yeah.
I want to play some more of this. Let me play this.
We should love people and use things. But now what we're doing is using people and loving things. And that is the trap that we set for ourselves with consumer capitalism.
You say consumer capitalism is ruining everything, but do you even have a solution?
Well, there isn't really a fix for consumer capitalism because it's in everything we're doing. It's in everything we eat, everything we do, everything we think. It's just a major part of the system that we live inside of. It is the very essence of the matrix itself. So you could try and regulate it more, but of course, then you're going to face massive pushback from huge conglomerates and corporations because you're affecting their bottom line. They're addicted. The entire economy is now addicted to consumer capitalism. People need to buy cheap crap that was produced almost slave labor, essentially, in foreign countries in order for our economy to keep going. So you need a hard reset. They have the great reset. I propose the hard reset.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. And that's the reason why these politicians keep winning, is because people want their stuff. They know, you know, getting shipping overnight, you know, from Amazon, you know, these are the things that they want, you know. So, but this is unsustainable. We can't continue to keep buying crap shitty products. We don't even need this stuff, and we're brainwashed that we need it and want it. It's just like we think that we're gonna make our life better. We're trying to compete with other people. It's so retarded. So the problem really is the people have to change the way that they think, because they're gonna fight for this system to continue. You know, they're gonna fight for it to somehow continue to work. You know, they're gonna hold on to it. They don't want this change. Like he said, hard reset. That's what we need. It's going to be like a real freaking dramatic change. You know? Let me play some more.
And it would be painful. The economy would really, really struggle if you overnight took away any element of consumer capitalism. You're only going to have an economy where you can only buy the things that you need. Of all of the problems I have proposed, this would be the hardest one to fix at this point. It seems to be that we're the victims of our own success as a species. It's a sick joke. And when I was thinking about it, I was thinking, well, what's happened? What are we going through right now? We as a species are no longer a good evolutionary match for the environment that we've created. And what environment did we create? We created an environment that has technology in it, and technology and progress go hand in hand. For a civilization to recede or to collapse, it needs to stop growing. But civilizational growth, technology, progress all work together. So is it inevitable? So I had to ask myself a question. What is tech? Like, where does it begin? Are you going to cite the Industrial Revolution? Are you going to talk about the development of guns or swords? Where do you go? I went all the way back, and I was thinking, no, I think you have to look at Neanderthals and our cousins in the animal kingdom. If you're using a tool to get something done, that is tech. If you wear an animal skin to stay a little bit warmer, that's tech. Better tech progress must be if the animal skin doesn't just keep you warm, it keeps you dry. And if it goes over more of your body and is more comfortable, that's technological progress. Then you accelerate that over a longer timeline, and you have iPhones, you have people dopamine addicted to social media. It's inevitable, and it's part of growth. It's part of progress. It's part of the civilizational and economic expanse that we've fallen prey to. We've been dreaming of the cities of light for literally millennia, a place where there's always warmth, always shelter, always safety from your enemies, food, calories, an abundance of choice, an abundance of lifestyles, an abundance of identities, an abundance of different ways of dressing, of thinking, of being, pure liberal options. And we have never been more miserable. And I think it must be biological. It must be, because we're just not evolved to live with this much stuff and this much technology and this many options. Our evolutionary match is probably for something that is a little bit more restricted than this. I really don't know what the answer is to that. Do we deliberately set technology back? Do we deliberately put civilization back so that we can continue to exist? I wouldn't want to make that decision. The way I try to make sense of this for myself is I try to think, okay, timeline of humanity. What was the environment that we evolved in? What were the environmental pressures that caused us to evolve in the way that we did, so that we have the behaviors and the inclinations that we do now? And I presume that, if our behaviors and inclinations are a good match for the environment we have, then we experience, if not happiness, peace or contentment at least. And so I think, okay, so what were we for the longest period of time? How did we live before this? Because this thing of cities and houses is nothing. It's been here for the blink of an eye, maybe, I don't know, for most of us, 1,000 years, 2,000. Beginning of the agricultural revolution is what, 8,000, 10,000 years ago? All of this is new. Living on top of each other is new. Living inside of cities is new. All this stuff is new. And these environmental pressures, of course, haven't had the time yet to influence our evolution, because evolution takes time, much longer than this. Technology inevitably becomes self-destructive. It's like a snake eating its own tail, because the tech, the stuff that we've developed to help us, is going to develop faster than we can evolve to catch up with what the tech is doing.
And that's scary. And playing this video is kind of making me nervous because it's got way too much music in it. I just know I'm gonna get a copyright. So I'm not gonna play any more of it. Let me see. Let me read some more comments. It says, I think if you compare this to a narcissistic collapse, it would likely fall into the unsustainable condition of pre-collapse. Inevitably, but not fully realized yet, it's scary as hell. I witnessed one full narcissistic collapse. It was a heart-wrenching and terrifying at the same time to witness. I'd rather not experience that a second time, but the handwriting is on the wall. I fear it is inevitable on a societal level. Because we're fucking crazy, man. As a society, we done went crazy globally. Let me read some more. It says, as a 40-year-old, having all of this rammed down my throat so quickly in real terms from the 80s where this didn't exist, this absolutely nails everything what is going wrong in the world. Another comment, I've been waiting for this. I can't wait to sit down and watch it later. Da, 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 da. Another comment, not all of us have lost our way, but we've been raised as too polite to confront what we're witnessing, and we're fearful of standing up individually. Either this is a time when we grasp that reality and evolve individually, or we are screwed short term. Thesis, analysis, synthesis. Another comment, I found you and came to you years ago. People always do that. Another comment, this is your best video. You think exactly how I think about the world that has gone nuts. It's also very hard for people that are already not a part of society because we all feel it. Personally, I think it's a runaway train, just like the environment we fucked up also. The trajectory here on it seems unstoppable because the people in powers are not going to help us. They are only in it for themselves. How can you not get depressed, filled with anxiety, trying to fill this huge hole with everything else that will only catapult us even faster in the inevitable direction of whatever it is we're headed towards? Society is going backwards. We're regressing, not progressing. Man, I'm going to post this comment. I think that sums it up. Anyways, y'all, am I losing y'all? I feel like I'm losing y'all. I'm going to go to Russell. I have a Russell Brand clip. Maybe that'll get us back on engaged. Russell Brand. Here it is. It's only 9 minutes. I probably won't play the whole
It's
thing.
official. Private healthcare companies are scamming us in the US and the UK. As Assange said, the function of government is to take public money and to put it in private hands. And it don't matter if your health suffers or the whole world's health suffers. This will blow your mind.
Take private money and put it in public hands.
The purpose of life is to acquire objects and possessions. Why don't you discuss in the comments below whether you believe in a materialistic or idealistic model for the foundation and formulation of reality? But while we're pondering such large questions and while you're clicking on that notification bell to ensure that the algorithm isn't conning us blind, while you're subscribing to make sure we stand strong, let's discuss healthcare. We've just been through a global pandemic where many of you, I know because I read your comments, that's why it's so important that you comment, have been questioning the integrity of the government agencies that regulate health. In the United Kingdom, the country where I'm from, did you notice my accent? We are in the process of handing over our national healthcare systems to American healthcare firms that have been not proven in court to be fraudulent, but highly suspected of being fraudulent due to the nature of the payouts out of court they've been making to avoid court proceedings. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about how pharmaceutical companies literally sent pole dancers to doctors' offices to recommend drugs that are not good for their patients. You will not believe the farrago. You will not believe the circus that your healthcare, whether you're from the UK or the United States, you will not believe the lack of ethics behind medicine. This conversation with Dr. Bob Gill, family physician, GP, doctor and practitioner turned activist, has given us insight from the inside of our healthcare system, whether it's the pandemic and some of the ideas behind it and some of the bad ideas, mandates and lockdowns that it led to, or whether it's the corruption at the heart of our healthcare system that involves big pharma, big medicine and big fraud. You are going to learn a lot. Stay to the end because you are going to be even brighter and even more beautiful by the end of this. Privatization is innately antithetical to healthcare. It's even in the word care is the suggestion that there should be a motivation beyond financial gain and profit. So what we're discussing really is a bill that's recently been passed in UK Parliament. The new Healthcare Act in the UK will turn the NHS into an American-style managed healthcare. Now, I know that some of the companies that are likely to purchase these new balkanized regions will be owned by, am I pronouncing it right, Centene, I believe, are one of the organisations that own one of the health insurance firms that are likely to end up running British healthcare. And I know that in America, I believe they're facing like a $1 billion bill for fraud exposure. So these healthcare firms that are going to be charged with running the UK's healthcare system in its increasingly privatised form have the way that they behaved in the United States is less than ideal. Am I right in saying, Bob?
Well, you're putting it very mildly, Russell. Centene is an American insurer. It is now the biggest provider of primary care in the UK.
Wow, already?
Already. So it's not some threat of future takeover. It's happening right now. Other companies like Health Corporation of America, United Health, they have been charged with fraud, but what normally happens is they settle out of court. They never plead guilty. They're never found guilty. It's a cost of doing business. So if you make 10 billion in profit and you pay a fine of 1 billion, you're 9 billion, to the benefit. So
let me just check those facts. 10 minus 9. Right, yep, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
So that is the system. Paying out and getting caught in fraud and paying out of court is part of that model.
I see. So this is one of the further risks of a for-profit healthcare model. Of course, the narrative that we're continually sold in this country is that the public sector cannot handle it. And a badly run public sector is, of course, appalling. But that denies the possibility that you could have new democratic healthcare systems where nurses, doctors, porters and patients could collaboratively be responsible for the manner of their healthcare, the way that it's administered and the way that it's controlled. Could that ever be possible, Doctor?
Well, it was possible. That's what we had before Margaret Thatcher came along at the end of the 70s. They set about doing this by stealth, in secrecy. The NHS was beautifully efficient. It had an overhead of around 4%. The American system, by overhead, I mean administration, paying the CEOs, all the money being leached out of the system. In America, this is 36%. At the same time, we're told that the market can deliver efficiencies. That is one of the biggest lies that has been successfully spun to pull the wool over our eyes.
Talked over that really quickly. 36% in administration. It's like overhead. This is all freaking like this is what keeps you from your care is and causes it to cost so much. It's because of this.
But the other important thing about private healthcare is it perverts the relationship between the doctor and the patient. So the doctor might start doing things that generate profit rather than that or in the interest of the patient.
Doctor, I'm going to say that you've used the word pervert there. Now, what do you mean exactly that it's going to pervert it?
Well,
do you mean like a pervert?
Well, I mean, my duty should be no other consideration but what is in the interest of the patient in front of me. I shouldn't be considering, am I getting a kickback from a drug company? Will I get a bonus if I do more expensive operations for it?
How do you reckon that opioid crisis was facilitated? How do you reckon we ended up in a situation where addictive drugs were recommended to vulnerable people? Is it because of this kind of kickback perverted system. And I'm going to use your word perverted there, Doc. I'm going to use it. Is it as a result of that?
Absolutely. You've got a very docile FDA. You have a company, Purdue Pharma, which spent money brainwashing and entertaining the doctors. In fact, they hired pole dancers as drug reps to go and entice these doctors into prescribing OxyContin. This is the level of the corrupting influence of private interests within healthcare.
Doctor, are you suggesting that there is something wrong with using pole dancers to sell OxyContin to vulnerable people?
Well, I would say yes, absolutely there is, because these drugs were given the clean bill of health by the FDA because they swallowed the line from Purdue to say these were not addictive, but these are an opiate-like drug. So, they had to do a very heavy brainwashing exercise to convince doctors to ignore their own judgment, ignore their own education, and start prescribing these deadly drugs.
Doc, during the global pandemic that we've just been through, although global pandemic is, of course, a tautology, we experienced unprecedented powers being granted to regulatory bodies, whether they were national or international, such as the WHO or some of the agencies in the United States. Is there anything in the relationships between Big Pharma and these regulatory bodies that should make ordinary citizens concerned? And what's your opinion as a professional physician about the way that lockdowns were mandated, and in particular, the way that vaccines were recommended and sometimes quite aggressively recommended? What are your views on that?
Well, in the UK and in America, all the focus is on pharmaceutical remedies to handle the pandemic. We ignored non-pharmaceutical remedies like improving people's health, taking basic steps like ventilating schools, for example. So all the solutions, funnily enough, had some profit angle to them. So that's why both countries did very badly, but very expensively failed in their pandemic response. The way the regulatory bodies work, particularly in the US, is that drug companies fund the FDA. Now, if that doesn't create a conflict of interest, I don't know what does. And if you look at the research on which clinical practice is based, this is sponsored by the drug companies. And they will only release favorable results. They will bury unfavorable results. And very often when new drugs are developed, they're compared to placebo rather than the best current treatment. So you're not getting a good comparison. Biased research, conflicts of interest, and a totally captured regulatory body.
Well, when giving out-of-court settlements to prevent your reputation being rightly tainted becomes a business model, allegedly, then surely we have to ask questions. How can we be handing more and more power to these healthcare companies, to these unelected globalist bodies like the WHO? Why are we sleepwalking into this disaster? Why are we trusting them? Let me know in the comments below.
I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the education system and the media. The caption says, private healthcare companies are scamming us. Today I'm joined by Dr. Bob Gill, who tells me all about privatization of healthcare, how the pandemic response was all about profit, Big Pharma's funding of the FDA, and its biased medical research. Let me read some comments. It says, I'm a physician and have been in the medicine for decades. The FDA is a disgrace as the CDC. Sadly, the medical system is completely broken down, including and especially academic medicine and research. All are trained and poisoned thanks to payoffs and funding mechanisms. I'd love to start a new medical association that serves the patient and underscores real prevention, and that does not reward a sick care system rapidly racing a breakneck speed toward a don't care system. It's already don't care system. It's how much you got system. It's oh, you willing to pay $20,000 for a heart? Well, we'll charge you $80,000 for it. Because we know if you'll pay $20,000, you'll pay it. Matter of fact, let's make it $120,000. Matter of fact, how much do you have? Your whole house, your whole car, everything. Let me read some more. It says, I'd like to highlight two issues with U.S. and now potentially British healthcare. One, insurance companies dictate what tests will be covered for a given patient and how often the test may be repeated. Back in 2010, my personal care physician quit his private practice because he was utterly frustrated with insurance companies telling him what tests he could or could not use on a given patient. Two, a study I read estimates that it took 8 years for new treatments, or innovations to filter down to primary care physicians. As an example, I have found that many doctors still think there are no significant side effects with certain drugs. But statins can hamper the cell's mitochondria from converting food to energy in the cell. This is caused by the elimination of coenzyme Q10 in the cells. The common comment by doctors and drug reps is that statins should be put in the water supply. The time lag involved results in doctors only getting the hype from the drug reps for many years before the truth comes out. And we talk about that all the time. They always quietly say when they made a mistake, and it sucks so bad because everybody still goes with it because it was from an official people. And 20, 30, 40 years down the line, these people are still citing this stuff that's already been, retracted, but they never heard the retraction. I'm gone stuffy, man. I'm sorry. Let me read some more. I'm a nurse and have always known there's a lack of ethics in healthcare, especially when it comes to hospitals, etc., which are businesses that happen to be places you go for health. I still had faith in the people who worked in healthcare until COVID. Another comment. Thank you, Russell. It's really sad that many people are so exhausted trying to keep their heads above water just to survive, which I feel is by design. It's difficult to think clearly and even know how to initiate alternatives. When someone speaks with authority, some assume trustworthiness. I am grateful you got this ball rolling. I know there are those out there who are really doing their best to fix the wrongs. Big Band-Aid healthcare has enforced upon so many. I'm stuffy. Excuse me. The part where she said, when someone speaks with authority, some assume trustworthiness. And that goes back to what the other guy was saying earlier and like how they retract it. You heard it from the CDC. You heard it from some official body or whatever, the New York Times or whatever. You heard it from them and they were screaming it loud and it got repeated on other media, and then later on you find out that they come out and they say, oh well, we're sorry, we was wrong, that's not true or whatever, but they quietly do it at the end of the freaking segment for 3 seconds. And the majority of people who heard this from somebody they feel has authority and they're trustworthy, they take it in and they freaking still believe it. It's really sad. They need to scream it as loud as they did when they said it the first time and make sure that the people hear them that they was wrong. But our society, it's sacrilegious. It's like if you made a mistake at your job, and there was a way for you to move around and them not knowing who made that mistake, who did it, most of us would take that option because that's the system that we live under. You get punished for being honest and truthful and standing up for what you did and all of this. If you can weasel your way out of it, that's the way to go in this system. It's so crazy. Anyways, let me read some more. Let me see. Been following Bob Gill forever. I'm a retired nurse, and I can't believe how bad the NHS has become at the top. The CEOs all get double their salary in 2018 as the powers that be wanted the right caliber of people in situ. There are 83 private systems operating within the NHS using the NHS logo. Tony Blair allowed the first private company to use the NHS logo, and 22 of those companies are from the US. I'm frightening of becoming ill, and the shutting down of simple procedures to pass them to private companies is a scandal. I was a medical assistant in the U.S. I saw and heard all kinds of rot that goes on. People have absolutely no clue just how bad it really is. Another comment, it was psychological, it was physiological, sociological manipulation. Psychological, sociological manipulation. It may seem like a scam, but it all served a sinister purpose. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse now. Let me read a couple more. It's always refreshing to have a doctor speak out against some of the less favorable practices that routinely occur in the medical profession. Dr. Bob speaks fluently and honestly. His patients are lucky as they see a doctor who prioritizes their health and well-being instead of company profits. Using pole dancers to entice deals is sordid, but not surprising. There's many similarities in the two businesses. I'll give credit to our government Medicare system here in Australia. We could always guarantee swift and professional medical care whenever it required. Now, as things are increasingly become privatized, it's obvious we're just a customer, and the bottom line is always the bill we pay at the end of our consultation. It's more important than ever now to take charge of our own health. We have a lot more control over than they'd like us to think. Another comment, I'm in Australia, and if it's not already happening, I'm sure it's not far away. The last few years have eroded and destroyed any confidence or trust I had in governments or regulators. It's terrifying, really, to know how far down the path we already are. We're fucked. Doesn't have to be this way, though. Are you there, Pat?
Yeah, I'm here. No, it doesn't have to be this way, but you know, some of us are just way too comfortable or too scared to do anything about it.
Yeah. And it's scary. It really is, because they'll attack you, and you stand up as an individual, and try to make a difference. They're going to cut you down. They're going to chop you like a
some of the people, and then some of the people that you actually fighting for will fight you for trying to make their life better.
Yeah. So crazy. So it's just like the Matrix. It's like the very people that you're trying to free are your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to protect them.
It's not like I'm out just calling wolf, because I mean that's kind of how a lot of people kind of even they look at it that way, like oh, he's just crying wolf, everything, because everything is a conspiracy theory, instead of them seeing the fact that conspiracies are also facts, or can be facts as well, and everything that people have come up, because I mean, of course, we know that some of these things are not real, but are none of them?
And they just came up with that whole term conspiracy theory just to freaking,
be able to sell it to you, to be able to sell some of their lies to you, because they knew, like, the out of Africa theory is bullshit and always has been bullshit. You come to find out there was people who was fighting against it then, when in the was it the 1800s, when all this was coming about, when they was trying to tell people all this whatever, these stories about Africa and blah blah blah, over in Ethiopia and all this crap, and it's bullshit. And like I said, there was archaeologists and like people who was doing the studies and stuff at that time that was like, no, that's not true, that's not right. But they just kind of hushed them up, and I don't think they were suiciding people at that time. I think they were just like, shit, you just kill them. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I was looking at this. I was trying to decide if I want to play this.
I have never seen a glass Coke bottle this shape or size. Our glass bottles are a lot smaller and they're also not very common. You'd only really see them in restaurants, not sold in shops. But yeah, let's give them a taste. Quick reminder of the British.
It's Coca-Cola from Mexico versus Coca-Cola from the UK. I ain't gonna lie, the best Coke I ever drank was the Mexican Cokes, out the big glass bottle.
Oh my god. Straight out of some water and ice.
And they don't taste like the Cokes that here in the States at all. Like, totally different.
Huh?
They don't taste like the Coke here in the United States at all. Like, they taste totally different.
Yeah, you're breaking up on me. I hate it when it does that.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
Because it'd be kind of good to hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I get it. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutish there ever been. No one can stop me. I eat your children. Hold on, let me see. That Mike Tyson fucking
Match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Best to ever been. I'm the most brutal, I'm vicious. Most brutal I ever been. No one can stop me. Lennox, I'm a copper. Man, I love that quote right there from Mike Tyson. I love it. That's what it is, though. It's like you kind of got to have that fighting spirit, like we were saying earlier about the winners and losers, man. It's going to be winners and losers in life regardless. Like the universe kind of works that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you teach your children
it's like the whole everything, because see, that's the whole thing. Everything is built on polarities. Like there's a extreme left and extreme right.
Yes. So if you teach your children that it's
the yings and the yangs,
you just go. Everybody gets a participation award type shit. Like,
yeah, but and that's the thing to me is just like how a lot of people can't see how dangerous it is to like act as if it's no big deal. Because we respect people for doing whatever they want to do and this, that, and the other.
Because showing up is just the first part of it. And I tell my daughter that shit all the time. Like, for you to be successful at anything, the first thing you got to do is show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the basic. You're not going to do anything if you can't show up. And a lot of people do have a problem showing up.
When you think about, like, all right, one of the key things we learn in school, the first thing they do when class starts is what?
Take attendance.
Roll call.
Yeah. But then after you show up, then you got to put in work.
Then you got to do something. Yeah, because but yeah, you still take action. Like, it's work. Like, you can't just coast through this life and think that you're going. Because the more you try to coast through, because it's better for you to work and keep the world the way you want it than to relax and let somebody else control the world you live in, so that you're back up in slavery where you have no choice but to work.
Yeah, so
you can at least work on your own. It's just like, okay, because I think that even as much of hard workers as the boomers were, and even some Gen X that came after, those borderline, the late Gen X's and the late, the early Gen X's and the late boomers, like, I think they just kind of just left us in limbo. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the early boomers did some things, but I don't know, like they didn't foresee a lot of, because I mean, shit, we still got a bunch of boomers running the damn country right now.
Yeah,
bro. Like
absolutely.
I don't know, man.
They still holding on, and they had a prosperous time, and they still see the world in that way, and it has moved on, it has changed. Their reality is not the same as the rest of ours.
We see
their experience was very different.
It was. It very much was, and shit. A lot of them went through some of the shit, pandemics and shit. Like without the technology, or well, I guess we still don't have the technology now to really fix it, other than the fact that natural. But however, they went through a lot of things when they were young, that, because I mean, what were the different wars and stuff that was going on? Like they actually lived through times of war, real war. But
they also had like the way the economy was, and like you look at the numbers, and it's like one dude could work and pay for his whole family and get a house and car and all this shit and have regular ass 9 to 5. Like nobody, the world is just way different, and the way society is structured is way different. And they was privileged in a lot of ways, and they don't see how different things are. They're trying to hold on to, they're trying to keep things, I don't know. And that's what I think. I feel like we're reverting backwards because there's a huge segment of our society that kind of wants to go back, They're like,
yeah,
wait.
but I really think that a lot of, because I mean, I complain about a lot of things that's happening, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of it is supposed to, because I mean, like people like myself and few others that I know that are actually growing, becoming better people, are doing, finding their way to do, help society in their own way. Yourself, I mean, shoot, like a lot of things that like if these things were not happening, where would our growth be coming from?
Right. And so, that goes back to the idea that I think about, how like if natural fires happen all the time, and there's a lot of dormant seeds and insects that hang out and wait for the fire. The fire happens and then they sprout. And the nature rebounds stronger and thicker and better after the fire. And it's like a lesson for us in society. I mean, it's a lesson for us in the universal. Like me and you always talk about the laws of the universe, and so everything goes through cycles, right? So for things to get better in our society, in our world, like our human world, it's gotta crash, bro. It's gotta go through this cycle of rebuilding, rebirth,
Yeah, just I mean, hopefully that it doesn't have to crash and fall so badly that that it's a total, like, us really having to start over from the same place that our great grandparents started off. Like we saying in the 1800s, like we don't have to start back over from there. Hopefully, there's a lot of technology that could be lost if because I mean they're talking about the threats of nuclear bombs.
We don't want that, because we're gonna be dealing with that forever. But what I'll be looking at, and I go back and look at it all the time, is after the Chernobyl. Even historically, if you just look at that event, it's super interesting. But the aftermath of it is really interesting, y'all. I recommend anybody listening go check it out, because what happened was it had the radiation poisoning, in a pretty large area around the power plant, and they made that area, off limits. It's not safe for humans. Still to this day, the radiation levels are unsafe for humans. So it's closed. Everything is closed off, and you can see how nature has retaken the streets and the houses, and the forests have coming back. They got wild wolves. They got deer. The wildlife has responded and come back so strong and beautiful. Even though they still have radiation in their system and some of the animals, but over time, you know how nature does it, it just spreads it out. So everything has a little bit of it. So the animals are pretty much fine. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you would want to eat that stuff. They were showing the fish. There was fish in there's water that they have for the cooling tanks for the nuclear power plant. And they had fish in there. And some of these fish have grown they're like catfish. They've grown to these huge size. Like they just keep getting bigger. They're in a perfect ass habitat. And people aren't going over there freaking eating them and killing them and shit. Throwing fucking toxic waste in the water and shit. Even though, that's the reason why it's cut off, is because they feel like that water is really toxic, because it was part of the power plant. It was used to cool. So they feel like it has a lot of it has high radiation amount. But those fish are doing fine. You there, Pat?
Yeah. Some of it was you was going, in and out. You said the radiation was something about the fish and radiate. I don't know.
In Chernobyl,
because right now I'm hearing you, huh?
After the Chernobyl disaster, they closed off the area, and now the nature has bounced back really strong as a result, because it's cut off for people. They got security and they don't let people up in there. So nature has come back. They got wolves, deer, and everything. The trees, the plants, everything is rebounded and it's beautiful. It's like a wilderness.
Yeah. I mean, in order for there to be life, there must be death. So I mean, that's something that we complain about. Just that, I mean, because we're this is the life, this is the time period that we're living in, and of course we don't want things to be. I don't know if anybody really really would choose or to go through the life of when these big changes happen, but
what they say, the only thing constant is change.
That's true. That's 1,000%.
Let me play this.
Afford bail? How are they going to afford to get their car back? But at least the car still exists. A lot of times, the cops just take people's cash. Like this man. This is Miguel. Cops came into his house with a search warrant, arrested him, and looked for all of his drugs. They found nothing but his cash savings.
They would give it back to her if she told them what they wanted to hear. Unfortunately, there was nothing she can tell them, so the two higher officers split her money between each other and just put it in their pockets, and that money was never reported.
Okay, so there's 21 states that track civil forfeiture, and the median amount of cash that the cops take is about $1,300. The estimated cost to get an attorney for a forfeiture case is $3,000. So what happens? People just charge it to the game. Then the cops sell their stuff.
I'll play the beginning of it.
Arrest dealers or criminals, they often seize property. And they don't need this, so they turn around and sell it for really cheap.
That's right. All the stuff that you get there is from the bad guys. This truck, this was Lex Luthor's truck. The bed was full of kryptonite. Most likely, that's just somebody's truck. See, it takes money to fight civil asset forfeiture in America.
Yeah, man. That shit is a huge scam, and I really wish So people always be feeling like, oh, they're criminals anyways. They did something wrong, so that's why the cops took their stuff. But hey, I think that I think a lot of those people aren't or didn't do anything at all, and the cops are just, and it's like, but we're so used to it because we're getting extorted left and right. They be selling us on this stuff with the insurance, the stickers, the license plates, the driver's licenses. Why do we have to pay money for all of this stuff? Oh, it's for our taxes. It's going to cover this or that or that or this or whatever. Whatever, man. And then the same thing with them taking the cars and stuff. Like, okay, do they have to tow your car and keep your car? Like, do they have to do that? Do they have to take your money? Or they're like, okay, well, he's a criminal. He was selling drugs. That's how he got this money. Maybe he didn't, bro. Maybe he was saving that money up for some haircuts. But you guys are totally okay with that, as long as it's not you. But like the guy was explaining in the video, you're not going to be in position to fight this. They took your money. How you going to fight it? Yeah. And making a complaint on a cop is like the hardest thing ever to do. You're going to go through a whole long-ass red tape bureaucracy, talk to some automated computers. You're going to talk to some algorithms. They're going to give you the runaround. Anyways, but y'all are totally okay with this system. Nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. It works perfectly fine. Don't be a criminal. Don't do nothing wrong. They won't take your stuff. Yeah. It's like they executed an innocent man. They did. It was a news story I was watching. Knew the guy was innocent. They executed him anyways. They're like, fuck it. I'm sure he did something.
That, huh? Plant. You want to grow corn? You plant a seed. It works with everything else. Huh? Plant. You want to get a new car? Buy the keychain. And put it away. The car come to you. You think you a fool, you'll act like a fool. Hmm? You think you poor, you act the way they tell you poor people supposed to act. Huh? Plant. You want to grow corn? You plant a seed.
I think that's good. I think those are big words. I used to listen to him all the time. I'm a fan of that guy. Y'all look him up, Dick Gregory. R. Kelly is heavy in the news right now. I don't want to talk about it. I think people get a perverse pleasure from those kinds of stories, and that's the reason why they promote them.
I found them at ShopRite yesterday. So, yeah, chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, corn, of course, a brownie. This one got the popcorn chicken, the fries, corn, of course, and strawberry cake. Neither one of them had the pudding. It upset me, but it is what it is. And I'm going to go ahead and heat these up. Brief intermission while my second one is heating up. This is the new logo. I saw it at ShopRite, like I said, and I hated it. I would have bought it just to show you in person, but why the f would I spend my money on that? I don't know that penguin. All right, so they both done. This is the chicken nuggets one. This the popcorn chicken fries. And look at the damn cake. That strawberry cake. I'm irritated already. I'm going to do the chicken nuggets first. So this got the mac and cheese. Let's see if the, whatever.
Man, I wouldn't even try to eat that shit. Unless I was starving. I wouldn't even do it for the video.
Mehmet Oz, the Trump-backed candidate for Pennsylvania's Senate seat. He lied there because he doesn't just own 2 houses. He owns 10 houses. According to public records, and they are public, anyone can look at them, Dr. Oz owns 10 properties. 10. John Fetterman weighed in on this. In fact, he has detailed a campaign ad that focuses on Dr. Oz's houses.
How many houses do you own? Really work with? Well, I legitimately, I own 2 houses. Survey said! different.
TYT. Oh shit, what happened? Something happened. Always happens when I'm pressing too many buttons. Let me try to exit. I don't know what happened, y'all.
Don't press too many buttons.
Okay, I lost my green screen. That's all. That's not a big deal. Dr. Oz. That dude is funny. I want to play his fucking ad because everybody keeps talking about it. I only seen clips of the ad. Everybody in the political sphere, by the way. Not normal people. I want to fix my green screen, but let me play this commercial for Dr. Oz.
I'm going to do some grocery shopping. I'm at Wegner's, and my wife wants some vegetables for crudite, right? So here's a broccoli. That's $2. Not a ton of broccoli, yeah. There's some asparagus. That's $4. Yep. Carrots. That's $4 more. That's $10 of vegetables there. And then we need some guacamole. That's $4 more. And she loves salsa. Yeah, salsa there. $6. Must be a shortage of salsa. Guys, that's $20 for crudite. This doesn't include the tequila. I mean, that's outrageous. We got Joe Biden to thank for this.
What do you think? You there, Pat?
Yes and no. I'm shit, man. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit tired, bro. I'm in and out.
That was Dr. Oz, and he was talking about the high grocery prices in his campaign ad. And saying that it's because of Joe Biden. The political world was laughing at him because he clearly, like, let me read the comments because they're probably going. Hold on, let me read the caption first. It says, fact check, Dr. Oz struggling his way through a minor shopping trip. Don't worry, we got you, Doc.
The Oz that what?
Well, that was the caption. Hold on, let me read some more. It says, the Lincoln Project is leading pro-democracy. Oh, but whatever. That's who posted this. Hold on, let me read the comments. It says, you can just tell this dude has never been in a grocery store in his life. Someone has always shopped for him. Let me read another one. It says, who else thinks this is the first time probably decades that he stepped foot in the grocery store? Another one. Back in the day, someone who fell for a pitch from a slick, fast-talking con man was usually called a sucker. We now just call them Republicans.
Really?
Let me read another one. It says, prices
suckers on both sides.
Yeah, me too. It says prices are through the roof here in UK. Do I have Joe Biden to thank? No, because I'm not a moron and understand the global situation. What do you think? It was a campaign ad for Dr. Oz, and he was at the grocery store, and basically he was trying to demonstrate how much it costs, how much things cost at the grocery store, and he's saying that it's Biden's fault.
Well, I heard you having that conversation with yourself last night. Well, I heard it today, but you was having a conversation. But I tend to agree with because I mean I think it is a difference between presidents. Because I mean, when everything is falling apart, it's not just all just happenstance. A lot of it is based on your relationships with different global leaders. Like it has a lot to do with your the way that you deal with with people. And Trump had his way of being able to deal with people who were supposed to be adverse to us in the country, but they were happy to do business with us under Trump, and it's not the same way when Biden got in. So it does make a difference. The allowing corporations to be able to start just moving prices because they want, you know, Trump wouldn't allow that. He would have made sure that he would have done something differently for them to, you know, that then, you know, like he would have penalized them for doing something like that, where Biden just kind of gave them free range.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference.
Yeah. So you said you was watching me talk to myself. You talking about the last night show?
Yeah, that was earlier today because you know I didn't see it until today. But yeah, I heard, and I look. If you go back and look at the comments, I started writing in there different little stuff. You know, shit. I damn near. I was like, all right, you know, I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not about to write no damn paragraphs of shit. But however, I do believe that if you know, because you was kind of like was like arguing with the people to some extent that you know this is it's insane to think that inflation and stuff just you know things would have been just better because Trump was there. Like they're small differences, but no, they're great differences. A lot of things that a lot of people don't really want to give Trump the credit for. He's just a better CEO than Biden.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. But
What else was in there that you? What comments? Because I don't even see them. You remember anything that you was just basically what your sentiment was right
that's
now?
the one. That's the one. That's the one I remember right off. That's what I remember, and because I showed like I was like, damn, I wish you know, because sometimes I was like, I wish he had just called me, like, hey man, you coming on, or you know, if I didn't show up, you know, because I usually have the intentions to come on, but because of I guess my day how everything went, I laid down to take a nap and shit. I was way more tired than I thought. You know what I'm saying?
It's lights out.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit. But once I start the show, I probably could before, but once I start the show, I'll be distracted and kind of focused. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to switch gears into like, you know.
You step away and do stuff. You don't like the phone, so I get it.
Yeah, that's part of it too. I ain't gonna lie. I don't call people very much. I prefer texting.
But you know, that's what you know. We talk a lot of. Well, I know a lot of adults talk crap about kids, and like if you're one of those people that's, because somebody even said that recently, like if you're a person that prefers to text over talking to somebody, you're not gonna have a good relationship.
That's probably true because my relationships do suffer. You know,
Doesn't mean you can't change though.
Yeah. It's the inflection in the voices, right? It's the tones. It's hard to hear that through text.
It's way more, you know, what's the word? Damn. If you know, like you know, it's not, you know, if you, I mean, of course the actual sounds and you know, but it's just way more sensual, I guess, or more, let's say sensual, but like
personal.
Yeah, it's way more personal. Yeah, I mean, because and then I mean, texting, if you really just think about the way texting comes off to people, like I've seen, you know, like what one person, when they read what their text, how it went, you hear it totally different from how when you hear somebody else read the exact same words.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of margin for miscommunication.
Exactly. But
turn into arguments and everything.
Bro. Shit, I don't been like, that's what I honestly hate texting. But you know, of course there's times where I have to do it, but then, you know, like shoot, me and my ex, based on text messages we send each other, and in the heat of the moment, you forget to say certain things, what you're thinking it, but you didn't put it in there, and certain vital things, that would have changed the entire thing, the whole everything you said gets missed, and like it's just, I don't know. Well, no, I meant. Well, nah, that's not what you said. You said. Like, oh, it's right there. Like, yeah, and that's the thing about it too. Like, the proof is right there within your words.
That's what I like about the text, and it's like, go back and read the damn text. I think people don't even be knowing what they said. Like, I didn't say that. Shit, I got evidence.
Well, I mean, I do like the fact that, okay, yeah, but I'm just at the same time. I mean, if that's, I mean, especially when you're dealing with somebody that's, you're close to, I think it's better to have the conversation than to go through the whole text and stuff. But that's how impersonal we've become.
Yeah. It's like the road that we've gone down, the way we've gone as a as a species, as a society, or whatever, a culture. It's like if it feels like we're on, the trajectory is destruction, man. It's like or otherwise we have to do a great correction on our own, and I just can't see. I don't see us doing it.
Well, I think that those who do have great intentions and see where we need to be, because I mean, if we continue pushing it in a direction, at some point the scales will start to kind of tilt the different way, and other people will see it better. Because I mean, I think with our conversations, like, a lot of people are seeing the world differently. I think that was one of the things that I saw. I think you had played a video, and they were going around about, oh, he sucks, talking about the president and whatever. Yeah, I think way things going, we would have been better off keeping Trump. And it, like, quote, like, those are probably some of my sentiments, but at the same time, the people, we have a lot to play in, because I mean, really, the people because the presidents do go in and out much quicker. Like, we need to pay more attention to the senators, which get to play under the senators, the House of Representatives. Like, they actually move in and out more than, like, the Senate. So it's like the people who actually control laws are able to, the ability to get, certain laws changed. We don't really, like, most people miss those elections. It's like, all right, you know what, this person, leans this way, and this is not really where we should be going. Some people don't even understand politics enough to even see where it's going. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? I argue with, like, it's so many signs that's out there that where we could, a lot of us visibly can see. I think one of my superpowers is that I am able to see things a lot of people are not able to see right away. You know what I'm saying? But even what you telling people, it's just like, oh man, like, you tripping, like, you really, man, you going overboard, like, you really tripping on, like, they can't fathom or even see it going that way. And then, months later, a year later, when they actually living it and they seeing how it affects them, now it's a problem, because now, now they see it. They can't help but see it now. But bro, I don't know, man. It's a tough world, but I mean, it's always gonna be a certain group that's ahead of the curve. There's gonna be some that's in the curve, you know, and those that's behind the curve. So, you know, it just kind of is what it is, you know. And I know there will be no response. You just want to go on to this next thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know me so well. This is a clip from because that dude made that comment, and I don't know. I think it was in a video I was playing. It irritated the shit out of me, and then nobody said nothing about it. But it looked like somebody made a TikTok on it. So let me play.
Nation whose economy is dependent on the export of.
Tonight on The Factor on. They say we're in a banana republic. I think that's an insult to banana republics across the country. I mean, at least the manager at Banana Republic, unlike our president, knows where he is and why he's there and what he's doing.
Oh my God. Look, I'm not going to blame the average American for not knowing what a banana republic is. You've got to be kind of a nerd to use that phrase regularly. I am, however, going to blame a literal politician who thinks that when people refer to banana republics, that they're talking about the clothing store. For the record, a banana republic is a nation whose economy is dependent on the export of one or a few crops, like bananas. But Republicans are using the term to critique the Biden administration for being corrupt and shadowy, which according to Bo Hines is just like the Banana Republic at the mall.
They say we're in a banana republic. I think that's an insult to banana republics across the country. I mean, at least the manager at Banana Republic, unlike our president, knows where he is and why he's there and what he's doing.
Exactly. Say, bro, I could.
That kind of stuff takes my breath away. I don't know what to say.
But this is like, that's the whole point. Like, say, bro, there's people that we have entrusted, or they was able to make it so far along. Like, they had people guiding them, the advisors, and you know, people to tell them this, that, and the other to keep the, you know, to fool us enough to get them in office. But they also was fool enough to be used by others, so that's why they were good to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really, like, until we are, you know, because we still get glamored by these politicians that come up on the TV. Like, my thing, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, I'm almost to the point where, like, if there's people on the ballot that I never heard of, I'm almost ready to vote for them more than the ones that I see on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Like the people who are actually grassroots. Like, I'd rather take a chance with them than the ones that's got all the money that you see, you know, such and such for president, such and such for Senate.
Yeah, but the problem with voting like that is that those people aren't very likely to win, because if you haven't seen them in no ads, then that means ain't nobody else seen them in no ads. That means ain't nobody else voting for them. Because I like your strategy though, because I think like you, Pat. But it's how many of us is out there?
I mean, I think there's people like that all over the place, but the problem is that everybody else is sold on the mainstream ideas.
Exactly. And you got this guy who's clearly a freaking idiot. Oh my God.
The biggest idiot.
Oh my God. Yeah, oh my God.
Bro. He might as well be a chimp swinging from tree to tree with bananas. I mean,
I hope after the interview, somebody that knows him pulled him to the side and was like, "Bro, let me educate you a bit. You obviously didn't know this. It's okay. It's okay."
Some people were, when he said that, like, the people were probably in awe and just didn't know how to even respond to him.
Because I wouldn't. I would be like. I would be speechless. I would like, I don't know where to start. We need to do a history class. Let's do a class.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because that's the whole thing, is just like, yeah, where do you begin with somebody that's that clueless? Because, like, you know, I have conversations with people all the time, and it's just kind of like, you know, you have to kind of see where they are to be able to fit into that narrative, to that conversation. Because if I start talking about certain things, they might be lost, and I'm like teaching them nothing because they don't even like they don't
They
get
don't
it.
have the basic. It's like when you are learning math or you learning a language, you have to learn your ABCs. When you learn in math, you got to learn to count to 5. You know, count to 10. You have to learn to count first. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? If these people
yeah. You
haven't
gotta you
done,
gotta learn the numbers 1 through 10 before you start trying to multiply.
and
You
and
know what I'm
and,
saying?
and we're having conversations with people, and we're talking about geometry and shit. They haven't gotten past the number 100.
Yeah. They can't
So
even do they can't do the alphabets without singing it as a song.
so so they can't hear you at all. That's why you have to. But I sympathize. There's nothing wrong with, people be talking about ignorant
People are
as,
where they are. Yeah, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
because I don't fault
It's
people,
not a
like they
bad
are
thing
where
to
they
be
are.
ignorant. You just don't know. So now you need to know. That's all.
But
So,
this
but
is
the
but this is a but yeah, but this is a time where, okay, this is a learning moment. This is whether it push you right up to where I am, maybe not, or what, or others that's sees it the same way. Because I'm not the most astute political because opinionist, but I mean, shit, you gotta think. I mean, these are people, like, there's people like might be analyzing or giving my opinion based on what I'm seeing, what's happening, but there's people who's actually on the other end that strategize it to put it in place. You know what I'm
and
saying? So
if you're running for Congress or whatever, and you making a comment, if you're saying something about something Banana Republic, you need to know what the hell you're talking about. So that's what you're saying. Like,
all
I'm
one
I'm just
hundred
a guy.
percent.
I'm just a guy. So, but if I get up there talking my shit, then I need to know my fucking shit. That's what it
Yes.
is. So
This is disrespectful to the managers of the Banana Republic all over the country. Bro,
what?
are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's not even a national real issue, really. Like, that's a freaking global issue that affects different all the different countries, really.
It's and again, like I say, so they got to know the history behind it to understand it. And I think that the reason why we even have a store named Banana Republic, they do this all the time. I saw this thing called King Ranch, and I haven't been able to take the time to really do the dissecting into that, but an event happened. So the thing is, they do that. It has twofold in it, because
We've
one
talked
way,
about King Ranch before.
yeah, I think we did, but I really want to dig into that. I haven't had time to. I really want to dig into that. I want to know the details on that. But
The own
the
Okay.
but it doesn't matter about the details right now. The point is how they use that, like Banana Republic, the name. So it's like twofold. One way is to remember, that, like, they do atrocious things, and they want to remember it. It's like, monuments to it. It's like statues to it. It's like, we're proud of it. It's like, so they remember it in that way. But also another thing that they do with that is they use the name to belittle the actual history related to it. So the average person, like this guy, don't really know the history related to the Banana Republic. All he knows is it by the store. So then that's also helps with searches, because when you're typing it in and you type it in your search bar and it pops up the store instead of the history related to it.
Yeah.
So even when they search
'Cause
about it, they still don't think they know.
But that's like something simple, because I mean, you might not get an in-depth explanation on it, but you got to get used to doing some research on your own. That's just like I get emails from my son's school, and they're kind of giving the parents a heads up of how to help the students. And when my son gets in from school, he calls me, and I've seen the email. They're talking about the whole the thing that I was telling you about earlier, the digital citizenship, and I look it up. When he calls and we talk, like I can have a conversation with him about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very valuable to do some research that way, you know, because they might have taught it in a different angle at school than what you're seeing, but at least you know, okay, well, no, I saw it as blah 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 blah, and like my son is so amazed and proud that you know his dad is so in touch with shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you can, I don't know.
This
You
is
care.
innocent.
The whole thing is that you give a shit.
You care enough to know what the hell. Like, have some damn integrity. Stand. That's why they don't stand on their square, bro. That's the difference between them and us. You know, because if you want to stand on your square, then you're gonna have something solid to stand on, right? So you need to have some confidence in that square, right? Like you need to know something about it.
Exactly. And it needs to become a habit for more people, bro. Like, do I expect everybody? No, but we're moving into an age where we need way more people to understand. Like, especially when it comes to law. Like, I mean, there's so many different dynamics that's changing within it. Like, they're talking of like just the whole idea of the digital citizenship. Like, bro, like if you're not really sure, like you can get taken real quick. And I think that's one of the because I mean everybody has to abide by the laws of the land or the sea, whatever laws you're under, you have to abide by them, but you don't know none of them.
Right. So yeah. So man, I hope if you learn some more about that digital universe stuff, maybe from your son or whatever, or you looked it up or whatever.
Well,
I
I
like
mean, this
share it with us.
yeah, I
'Cause
I hadn't actually heard that term before, but this thing, you know, in the world of crypto, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that, you know, just learning about crypto teaches you about all the, because I mean, if you really think about the blockchain technology that's going into all of these practices, things that we're moving into within the technology, like you really learn about a lot of it. But that's why, you know, like I said, that terminology was kind of new to me as far as the like a digital citizenship.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're trying to incorporate my son in some shit that I ain't ready for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he don't get, well, you know, me and him talk enough to where it's like, you know, you don't want to just be signing and doing, because you have heard about the uninformed consent, right?
What is that?
That's where they can convince your child at school to do things like taking shot. You know, some of those things like is like taking shots at school, where you know they're pretty much kind of allowing them to decide, because if your parents are too stupid to say to give it to you, then they can give it to you as long as you agree. So you need to look that up too, and make sure you're talking to your kids about it, so they're not just like thinking, you know, they don't understand all the details about what the decision that they're making, and then they go and do stuff behind your back and or at school, and then you all before you know it, your kid comes home. And, you know, the conversation was around vaccinations, but it could stem to almost anything. Like, I mean,
yeah. Well, I tell my kids, you know, just because something is legal doesn't make it right, and just because something is illegal doesn't make it wrong. And also, somebody that's in a position of authority can do things that aren't cool. So if you don't feel like it's right, I don't care who the hell they are, fucking, you don't go with that shit. Period.
Well, yeah, you don't just let some, because I mean, you know, they get very convincing. Like, there's been times where I'm like, damn, I might need to go and get me one. But then, you know, of
And,
course,
and, and in the
I
schools,
do my independent research has
they're,
told me way more.
they're so
Go ahead.
authoritative. They're so authoritative in the
They try to
schools.
make you feel bad, and then they try to make you feel bad because you haven't done it, and because you want to be a part of, like, you like your friends and all this, that, and the other, and you don't want to be shut off from your friends. Then you just like, oh the hell, you know, like you
And,
make a bad, you could
and,
make a
and they'll
bad
punish
decision.
you. They'll punish you by suspending you or putting you in detention or whatever, messing with your school schedule or whatever the hell, and
Yeah.
they really have a lot of power over you. They have a lot of authority over you when you're in the school. So you're like, you kind of got to go
Well,
with whatever the hell they freaking tell you most of the time.
yeah.
But if it's something that's all the way out of line, like and making you feel uncomfortable, that's what I tell my children. Then no, don't do it. It's whatever. I don't care. Tell them to call me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna back my kid up every time.
Yeah, 'cause I'm your lawyer. You know what I'm saying? I try to teach him different things when I see, but his attention span is, still not large enough to really be able to soak it up like in full. But as I go, as I'm going through life, I'm teaching them certain things because, like, just even the thing, hey, you're not an African American, you're Aboriginal. You know what I'm saying? He needs to truly understand that more. As like, just like how he say, oh yeah, you need to be able to say you're an Aboriginal over saying you're an African American. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the importance of that. But he's he doesn't fully get that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he still, he hears me, but getting into the whys. But however, we gotta stay on our kids. Like, we gotta really be involved. Super, like, we can't do like our parents did. You know what I'm saying? Like, our parents could be absent to some extent. Like, they had to work these 12 and 16-hour days and stuff. Like, I know my mom did, but the world was totally different when we were kids than what our kids are going through now. We have to be totally present and truly do our job of guidance through these times, or you're gonna lose them.
Man,
Like, before you know it, they're gonna be, like, especially they're gonna be starting to making decisions on their own, the ability to really decide for themselves. And if you haven't made a big enough influence on them, somebody has.
I'm telling you, man, that attention, influence, support is so important. It's like how, I love plants and I'd like to compare people to plants. So, but I feel like if my parents had paid more attention to me, I'd probably be a marine biologist or something. Ain't no telling, astrophysicist.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of just explored those thoughts too, but I also feel that because of how everything played out was the reason why, like, I was supposed to go through these things, because I mean, I think I'm smarter than what I would have been if I would have gone through the indoctrinations of all of the different schools or this, that, and the third.
I feel you,
Like,
because I tell myself the same thing, but I think that it's a thing that we tell ourselves, man. Not to say that it's not true, but what I'm saying is I think it's just a thing that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel more
no,
comfortable.
not me. I don't think it's not something I know the proof. Like, I got the proof. Like, I've seen it. Like, I've analyzed it. I'm better off that my life happened the way it was. My mom and my dad divorcing was a benefit to me.
Yeah, I go over that kind of stuff all the time, and I just feel like it did make me stronger. It made me who I am. I'm happy to be who I am. I don't want to
Yeah,
be somebody else.
if I would
So
have liked to have had my dad in my life more, because I had my periods of time where I was a little bit softer. Like, I was like kind of, like, different fights maybe I would have been, better prepared for or whatever.
I
But
just
even
it's
getting my ass whooped was a benefit to me. Like I see it more like the more I look at it and the more I analyze it, some of those things I needed my ass whooped for, or I
I
needed to
just
experience it the way I did in order for me to get the lessons that I learned.
I just think that we do that to ourselves. We like to we like to have it settled. And it's like the universe, I think that sometimes things aren't settled. It's like
It
when
is settled. It's done. It's over. It is settled. By you thinking and still comparing it to try to because like I think what you're doing is making an excuse for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you thinking that things could have been better for you when you already in a great position.
yeah,
You
no,
have
no, it's not
it's
about that.
settled.
It's about the generations. So, that's what we're talking about here is, because as a result, we're going to make sure that we take care of our kids and we be a part of their life and we, make sure we instruct them and teach them and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, our lives, we could have been better people if we got that support that we're giving to our children. You get what I'm
Well,
saying?
look. I'm gonna say possibly because for me, when I, with the 2020 vision, being able to actually see everything as it has played out for me. I'm not gonna speak for anybody else. For me, it was better that it worked, that things did, went the way it did, because just to kind of like the mindset that my parents, because like right now, if I had followed like done everything that my parents did, my son, me and my son both would be jabbed up and maybe 2 or 3 times already, 3 times or more already, and all of the damage that it's doing that people are seeing now, all of the injuries from it, I'll probably be suffering it. But because we didn't, like, shoot, I mean, of course, I'm got my health issues, but my son, he's good. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's different things that because I'm not some fancy doctor or some marine biologist or some lawyer, doctor, whatever. Because I'm not that doesn't mean that I'm not great and that this is like shit. I make more money than a lot of doctors.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. It's kind of like that.
But what I'm saying, I know it's not about the money, because I'm just saying like that's just it's just the fact I mean, because really the ability for me to be able to think for myself, for me to be able to take information, process it, and use it that benefits me and my family, my son, who I actually have responsibility over, because everybody else around me has taken the step that I didn't feel comfortable with doing. Like, I really feel like if I was just a part of the system and went through everything the way it did, if I wasn't a high school dropout and learned to do things for myself and learn for myself and understand things based on, not what somebody else told me, was a great benefit for me.
And I get what you're saying. Like, I agree. Like, I don't want to be somebody else. I'm happy that I am who I am, and the things that I went through is what made me who I am. But what I'm saying is, like, giving your child supporting them, giving them a foundation and educating them, is what you do. Like, that's what you do when you take care of a plant, and that plant grows more green, more wider leaves, taller as a result. You get what I'm saying? So I think that psychologically we tend to do that. It's one of those things that we do, but things, it's like the argument. Well, hold on, let me say this point. I compare it to this argument that I be bringing up all the time about the chick who says, I grew up without my father, and I'm fine. So my child doesn't really need a dad. I came out okay, so my child will be fine. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, but what that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the generational effects of these types of things. So then as a result, we want to make sure that we're there for our child and supporting them, you know, and communicating with them and educating them because we know that that's going to feed them better. Like that's going to give them what they need to grow and become who, and they're going to turn into Spider-Man or Batman or Elon Musk and shit. That's what's going to happen with our kids.
Well, I think that sometimes we go overboard with our thoughts because the exploration. Because I mean, once there's enough evidence to really just show. I mean, one thing is understanding the universe because when it's done, it's done. That's what was meant to be. Period. No matter how gruesome it could be or how great it could be, like it was meant to be that way, and accepting it. Now, I mean, if you want to, analyze and figure out the reasons why and how, because I mean, like I said, like I'm looking at how these things benefited me. That's one thing, but then to try to, if I did it the other way, where I'm like looking down and feeling like I'm in a bad place because I didn't have certain things, like it wouldn't be as much of a benefit to me.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Accepting it. I think I do accept it. I think I do. But at the same time, and it's not about comparing what my life could have been or whatever. It's just like, it could have been different. Things could have been different. That's all.
Well,
It would have been nice.
I'm just saying,
Like it's like
if you would have got this, if because I mean, potentially based on some of the things I heard, like if things would have been way smoother with your mom and your dad, I mean, maybe you could have went to Harvard or no, what's the tech school, MIT or you whatever. Like yeah, maybe you would have got the scholarship because you would have had that consistent on your neck, on your back, like people that's pushing you or whatever. But at the same time, you would have been a douchebag.
probably, and I do struggle with that. I struggle with that. I get what you're saying because I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. But this the idea of having both parents in the home, having a stable household, probably having the same address throughout at least most of your childhood. You know what I'm saying?
Which is
Same
very
schools.
important. I ain't gonna lie, that I mean, because I think that was one of the things that kept me grounded was the fact that from the time I was 2 until today, my mom is in the same house.
That kind of stuff. Not everybody gets that, man, and it's like those are the kind of things that it because you get habits. You carry the baggage from your parents, and you end up with habits as a result of your childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like because of the way that they lived, you had to live that way, and you adjusted to it and accepted that. And I think that's one of the things that bothers me a lot about people who like they don't feel like they're special. They don't feel like they're important. They don't feel like they matter. Like it doesn't matter about their life.
But that's the bigger problem of everything. That
And then
right
they have
there
this
singled out
poor mentality where they like, oh, I'm supposed to have nothing. I'm supposed to
But
have
see-
nothing my whole life just because. Like I'm just
Yeah,
destined to have
see,
nothing.
that's the worst thing that can happen to any individual is the lack of love for self and to look down at yourself. Because regardless of what situation you're in, you do have to look at the fact that it can be better, and because of you, it will be better. You know what I'm saying? Or I mean, the combination of God, because I mean, I got somebody close to me started talking about me. I need to be humble. Like it really bothered me. I was like, no, what you just saw was just a true act of faith. Like somebody who really believes. It's not somebody who's you know not humble. Is more so that my faith in God is much higher than what you know or what you've seen before. But either way, I mean, you have to give
Scarce.
that effort. you know, God is in you already. So I mean, that's a part of the equation. No matter what you do, it's just you actually not being afraid to take the steps to get yourself past what you're in now.
It scares people, frightens them, and intimidates people when you walk in that light, and when you really demonstrate it, because then it sounds good on paper or in theory, but then when they see it in person, it bothers them. It's like, I'm actually doing it.
Yeah. It really does. And like, I'm like, you know, because I'm like, what? Like, I really was at, and this is somebody I really love. Like, this is like family. And I was like, you know what? I can't, look, I may have to just deal with life without you in it, if that's the way you see my movement. You know what I'm saying? If that's the way you see me, you know what? I really feel sorry for you. But I can't indulge and be around you.
And I hate it. It's so sad though. We have to reach out to these people, but it's a lot of it is religion. You know, a lot of it is that, and they just like they're stuck in the box, and they just really don't want to like. It's submission. It's submission. They're just like, you know, let Jesus do it. Let Jesus take the wheel.
Yes,
you know.
Yes, but see,
So
and
who
that's
are
the thing,
you?
because
Who do you think you are? You're supposed to leave it to Jesus.
No, listen. They so quick to tell you that, oh, I'm not Christian, I'm not Muslim, I'm not none of that. You know, I just follow the book. You know what I'm saying? Okay, look, regardless whatever you calling it, like you're overplaying this. Like, replace those names that you see in the Bible with your own name. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of these things are just meant for you to learn from, not to praise another man.
It's crazy.
Whether it was a real man or a made up man, whatever it is, because none of us have the proof to show one way or the other. That's why it shouldn't matter. Like, take the stories from what they are and learn from them. You know, what would you have done? What if this whole thing presents itself in your own life? How do you handle it, knowing what you know from this story and that story, whatever? You know what I'm saying? That's the part that I think people need to understand more. But if you want to argue with me more about, well, no, he was real, like, bro, we're gonna be like, we can do this forever. Like, that'll be an argument forever. But one thing is for sure, these stories, real or fake, was here meant for you to learn from. Let's just roll with that. You know,
yeah, I want to cover one more segment before we wrap it.
Okay. Yeah. Because
I have this Life article. It says 1960s, the decade when everything changed.
Wow. Okay.
And it's the real reason why I picked it up is kind of the cover kind of caught me. You know, you got John F. Kennedy, you got Man on the Moon, you got it looks like a helicopter. It kind of probably signifies Vietnam. And the other one is the Beatles down there in the bottom corner. So, but then look, look who's on the back. Martin Luther King's on the back. So it's funny to me though, because how much they love Martin Luther King, and then they're talking about the 60s. The Beatles made it on the front cover. MLK back cover.
You know what? I really need to see. I need to be able to look at all of the symbol, because you know, that's all it is right now. Like, what you're seeing is a bunch of symbolism. That's, you know, maybe needs to be articulated to some point.
Even the helicopter made it. A random helicopter photo made it to the front cover.
But that might not be the important thing, because number one, you know, if we were reading Arabic, we'll be reading from back to front, from right to left. I mean, I don't know
feel
if
you.
that the real importance would really, you know what I'm saying, of that really, because perspective. But really, it's really trying to understand the story that they're telling you.
Right. Exactly. So that's what I'm on. So, you know, and that's what got my attention. So that's the reason why I wanted to touch on this. So what do you think before I move on? You know, Life, 1960s, and they put MLK on the back.
Oh my goodness, bro. I mean, those were some times that, okay, of course, neither one of us lived through, but I mean, we know that though there were some landmark things that happened that because they did is why we're dealing. Because I mean, if you really think about the
We're living
political
in it.
position,
We're living in
huh?
that. The results of the 60s is what we live in today.
Yeah,
These are the
because if you
fruits
really
of it.
think about, because it weakened the way that they handled the political uh voices at that time, like pretty much everybody ended up dead.
John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, half of the Black Panthers. Who
Yeah,
else?
yeah. So I mean,
Shit.
just think if we were able to like if we would have continued to climb politically from then where they were, because they made some big strides and like things were moving, like things changed, like the
The
civil,
civil
like
rights
right,
era. That's what was
bro,
going on. Yeah.
yeah, like
Vietnam.
tons of shit. So I mean, there was so many things going on that if they would have kept the momentum from then, the question for like what I would
Yeah,
want to like
imagine
where,
what we would look
yeah,
like today. Ooh.
where we would
John
be
F. Kennedy would
today.
probably still be alive, right? He'd still be alive. He was a young man.
Martin Luther King would have still been alive, or Malcolm X could have still been alive. Like they might have been in their 80s, late 70s or 80s or something like that. No, yeah, they probably would be in their 80s probably, but still, shit, Farrakhan, he's the only one.
It's a reason why he. Anyways, let's not go down that road.
Yeah, I my sentiments exactly. Because I think I've had a conversation of different things. You know.
Yeah, he's a
My sister.
pacifier. He serves the same role as the church, the black church.
No, exactly. He just,
It's no different.
and he just really just had permission to be able to say stuff a little, more exotic, not really exotic, but he's able to toe the line a little bit more publicly, and so that he can help
And
the
it's
other
funny.
side.
It's funny how so many Christians, and then they talk bad about Islam, but it's so many Christians that really they black Christians, they really like Farrakhan a lot.
Say, bro, look, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I mean, just a lot of people. There's quite a few people that I know that's in the nation, and the way that they look at things now, like a bunch of them that grew up in the nation have left it to a great extent. Like they don't. There's a bunch of them still, of course, like a lot of them that do follow or whatever, but there's a bunch that had to leave it alone because of the things that they were seeing. So I mean, you got to really suspect. And I know some of these like people like personally, so I know they're the I know these people from when they got in and to now. Like these are good people, and the reason why that they had to step away was because of them being good people. Some of them may not have seen the same things that some of the others seen, and they're still in there, still involved, or for clout or money. some of them stayed in there. So I mean, you gotta. They do have a great, like, see, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I still have a great respect because they have done a lot. Farrakhan personally, alone has done a lot for the growth of black people. So I can't just, throw them out in front of the train or under the bus or anything like that. But at the same time, I don't think they've done everything possible. Like there's still a lot of division that could have been cleared up that they know the truth to, but they won't really have the serious conversation so that we won't be divided. But I wasn't supposed to get off onto that.
Yeah. Let me read some of this. It says, for the times were changing, and the decade that Dylan and others helped to usher in was one of seismic events that upended and reinvented America. While Zimmerman was becoming Dylan, John F. Kennedy was ascending to the presidency. His grand inauguration seemed like a moment for a fresh start. The America Kennedy oversaw was the world's preeminent force, and he declared at his swearing in that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans. JFK's clarion call to explore what problems unite us instead of belaboring those problems which divide us set a forward-looking tone as the nation left the staidness of the Eisenhower era for one of made men stylishness. Man, they threw some words in there, didn't they? Kennedy brought. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say too, you gotta something that I think is somewhat key about Kennedy becoming president is that most people don't realize he was Irish, and not until the 1930s. So we're looking at 20 to 30 years later, people that was considered black had made it into this kind of position.
And I was going to say, whenever I hear Irish, I hear black. That's what I hear.
No, I mean, the Irish people were black. I mean, most people still think that black and white is based on your skin color. It's political. It's a political status,
but
nothing more, nothing less.
And culturally too, though, because like the Italians.
Well, I mean, but I'm just saying. I mean, even like, most of them are, like descend from black people. But like my main thing for people to understand, I mean, because when we talk about culture, I mean, that can go in different directions. But when we're talking about facts about what political status is, white and black and white, of course they try to use that as a cultural builder. But I mean, no, it's where did that whole idea stem from? The facts is it's political status. Either you the top of the with white, whether you're black, brown, yellow, and because I mean, shit, Hispanics are going and calling themselves white these days. There's black Africans that come over from North Africa that legally, if you come from Egypt, no matter how dark you are or how light you are white based on the law.
Right.
So like, people need to know that and stop going with the bullshit, because that's part of what's got most of us divided, is the fact that we believe, even though we look at our skin and see it's brown and we keep calling ourselves black, like that's, at this point these days, that's just dumb.
Yeah. Let me read some more. It says, Kennedy brought with him a promise of liberalism, and there seemed to be much hope as his youthful president created the Peace Corps. Thrilled with the rest of America as astronaut Alan Shepard slipped the grip of gravity aboard Freedom 7 and vowed that an American would set foot on the moon by the end of the decade. And the start of the 60s was a time of movement toward greater rights for many. Illinois became the first state to repeal its sodomy laws, giving a boost to a nascent gay rights movement. The appearance of the pill presented new freedoms to women. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. led a glorious march on Washington for jobs and freedom. Yet at the same time, social, political, racial, and outside forces beset America as attack dogs ripped at civil rights marchers in Birmingham. As President Kennedy approved an ill-fated invasion of Cuba, and as he also allowed the military to ratchet up its involvement in Vietnam, soon after, the United States and the Soviet Union attempted to stare at each other down during the Cuban Missile Crisis. At the time, Dylan was singing "A Hard Rain's a Gonna Fall," a song that warned of a coming time of guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. The piece appeared on the Freewheeling Bob Dylan, an LP that included his protest song, "Blowing in the Wind," which would become an emblematic anthem of the era. This was followed not long after "The Times They Are Changing," a song that encapsulates the tenure of the age. Yeah, let me read a little bit more. It says, in November 1963, the times changed again, very dramatically. President Kennedy was shot dead in Dallas, and while his successor, Lyndon Johnson, vowed to continue JFK's legacy, pushed through groundbreaking civil rights and voting rights legislation, and unleashed his own Great Society initiative to eliminate inequality, hunger, and injustice. He also escalated America's involvement in Vietnam by increasing troop presence there from 23,000 in 1964 to 536,000 in 1968. As the decade progressed, Americans watched nightly on television the unrelenting casualties counts and started to realize that the war was unwinnable. They would also see the growing battle for civil rights result in a backlash that took the life of Dr. King. The assassination sparked riots in urban centers such as Baltimore, Chicago, and New York. And then, as Kennedy's younger brother Robert ran for the presidency, he too became the victim of a gunman. One more loss etched into America's psyche.
I wonder if there's did anybody know, like, the two main presidents that was off that try to make big differences for the people, Abraham Lincoln and JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Some of the weird things is that, okay, in the Lincoln presidency, his secretary's name was Kennedy, and in Kennedy's administration, his secretary's name was Lincoln. But these are two people like that were actually trying to make a difference. Because I mean, the more evidence we find, I mean, Lincoln was actually probably the first and the last black president. Well, not the first, but he was one of the black melanated presidents, should I say. All the pictures don't prove it, but they've whitewashed a bunch of our history. You need to do more reading. But however, I think that kind of makes like, it's weird how these things kind of work out, the synchronicities that end up happening in the world. I don't know, it's very weird to me. So I don't know, maybe I'm out on that limb by myself, but you don't think much about that, Shot?
Yeah, I was distracted because I was trying to get to the next thing I want to get to. What was the last thing you said?
I thought we was in the moment of a conversation, but
I was listening. Go ahead.
No, because I brought up about the whole the two main characters of presidents that got killed.
Yeah.
They were
melanated. That's what you were saying. Yeah, I was listening.
Well,
I just got distracted.
Well, because Lincoln, he was actually a black man, like what we would consider a black man, melanated. He was a Moor. He was white. He was actually legally white, but he had brown skin like you and I, or more like my color or darker. But Lincoln was actually most likely born black politically, and happened to become white later politically. But either way, I'm just saying these were two people that really tried to do something different for the people, and they were killed. And those secretaries, Lincoln's secretary was Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary's name was Lincoln.
Yeah.
That was just something, one of those things that was pointed out. I guess one of the weird things about that, you know what I'm saying? It's
interesting.
I guess.
The freaking John F. K. rabbit hole is a whole long ass rabbit hole.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, it had to do with some of the same things we're dealing with right now today with the money, like the whole fiat. Because I mean, if you think about it, because like, there was a lot of different stuff that happened in the 1930s after the Great Depression with the money, but really in 1971 is where some things got that end up, because the recession came again, 1970, 1971, but they were really talking about bringing it back to a gold standard because of how bad things were looking, not really having something solid to lean the money on. That whole fiat currency it's been screwing up this country for the longest, and making people, the divisions, a whole lot of losses, and some people were having big gains, but it wasn't good for the people. Like, the people at the top, just like right now, the people at the top are able to benefit and do whatever they were doing. So if you decide that you're gonna look out for the people, you get killed. And that's what happened. Of course, I mentioned Lincoln, but we're talking about the 60s, JFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, John Lennon, like anybody that was looking to be honest with the people had to go.
It's the people. It was too dangerous. It was like they're uprising. But that's what I think they did. They stamped out the world revolution that should have happened, but it's just been simmering as a result. Let me read some more. It says, as the world as it stands, the world population in 1960 is approximately, what is this number? 2,915,000. No, 2,915,383,000. Today it's nearly 8 billion.
Yeah.
In 1960, the United States says there are what? Hold on. In 1960, the New York is the world's third biggest city behind Tokyo and London. Stories being told daily today in the so-called Asian century, NYC is nowhere near the leader with some 8.3 million souls. The Big Apple is far behind fast-growing Seoul, Delhi, Shanghai, and Karachi. Non-statistically, America in 1960 is growing in the exciting post-war period as a world power, having assumed a leadership role for democracies from Great Britain. There is an ongoing face-off with the Soviet Union in what is becoming known as a Cold War, where Western firepower has been openly evident, as in the recent Korea conflict and also in France's effort to cling to its colonies in Southeast Asia. People are confused about whether Western goals are a preservation of the past or a hope for the future. Same too with the simmering civil rights arguments in the United States, and the baby boomers are starting to come of age or to become a problem, depending on your view.
Yeah. Man,
This is interesting. Let me read some more. Twisting is a term that can be applied not only to the dance craze of the early 1960s, but to the gyrations about to alter pop culture thoroughly. Elvis Presley's induction into the Army in 1958 proves a mournful event for fans. By the time the King of Rock and Roll is discharged in 1960, he is welcomed home on the Frank Sinatra Show. At this instant, Elvis and Sinatra, as well as the great mass of America, are unaware that their cool, polish, and such things as respect for the military are due to erode in the coming years. As far as music itself is concerned, the 60s herald in an age of some justice, rock and roll, which has been good to Elvis, other white performers, not only evolved from African American rhythm and blues, but was in fact invented by blacks. In the new decade, the discs of Motown artists sell in quantities equal to those of white neo-soul singers. Little Richard, the self-proclaimed architect of rock and roll, is certainly one of them. And in 1960, the 18-year-old Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., who would soon change his name to Muhammad Ali, takes his first step to proving that he is truly the greatest. He triumphantly defeats Poland's Zbigniew Pietraszewski and wins the golden medal in the light heavyweight boxing division at the Rome Olympics.
Rome?
Yeah. So it was, I don't know what they probably called it something different back then. Everything changes, you know.
In the 60s, I don't think, unless they got another place that's called Rome, they're talking about the country Rome or the city Rome.
It just says the Rome Olympics. I don't know. They start talking about the war. Presidential debate. What is this? Kennedy's Cultural Revolution. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, World War II hero, becomes, at age 43, the youngest man ever elected to the nation's highest office. The Peace Corps is launched. They already said some of that. Hold on. They said that at the beginning. It's one more thing in here. The coldest of wars. Here it is. If things seem a bit topsy-turvy in Americans in 1961, 62 promises to return the hunky-dory, yet there are overreaching concerns that will be made manifest as the days and weeks unfold. Cars are becoming more compact and are not only going but also selling like gangbusters. Surf music and Elvis movies make us smile, as do new entertainments like the Beverly Hillbillies and that sexy James Bond film, Dr. No. In England, unheard yet by American ears, the Beatles record Love Me Do, a book called Sex and the Single Girl, promises great fun, and this thing called The Pill is catching on. The U.S. inflation rate is 1.2%, a quarter of the British rate, and a house in the States costs $12,500 on average. Gas is 28 cents a gallon. Harvard tuition is $1,520 a year. Wilt Chamberlain scores 100 points in a pro basketball game. The American dream is in place, but the fact that there are those who would disrupt or destroy it seems clear. We send our kids to a burgeoning number of public schools where they learn the 3 R's, but also practice duck and cover drills that will hardly protect them in an event of an atomic bomb attack. Man after man is launched into space by both sides. John Glenn orbits Earth 3 times. Then a Russian cosmonaut makes 64 orbits. But for what reason, to what end? After 3 years of nuclear tests, banned talks between the U.S. and the USSR and Great Britain, negotiations are halted with no agreements in place. In October, Russian ships carry nuclear missiles to Allied Cuba, where a base has been built, precipitating an American blockade. Washington, Moscow, and indeed all people throughout the whole world hold their collective breath. Kennedy and Khrushchev will blink. duck and cover. That shit was dumb as hell. It's just an example of what the hell they be making the kids do for no damn reason. The damn
Is this a throwback issue, or like how did you get this?
No, this is recent. This just came out. It was this is very new. It's on here it says display until 9/30/2022. So this is current. This is the current life.
Buy me one.
Shit, you can have this one. After I read them hoes, I'll be done with them. It's some interesting stuff in here.
Well, when you're done with it, put it in a Ziploc bag, and I get it for. I'll send you the money for it if you need it, like that. You know, if you want me to. But
Shit, I ain't tripping on that.
yeah.
Let me read one more little part here. There are indeed events before those of November 22nd, many having to do with the fight for racial equality in America. In the spring, the Birmingham campaign by civil rights advocates puts the spotlight on discrimination in Alabama, eliciting the wrath of Commissioner of Public Safety Bull Connor and the vicious response, something weird with the way they spelled, response of his police dogs and fire hoses. In June, after sending the National Guard to protect two African-American students who were attempting to enroll in the University of Alabama, President Kennedy, in a landmark address, declares, "We are confronting primarily with a moral issue. It is old as the scriptures and is clear as the American Constitution." On August 28th, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who was emerged as preeminent among civil rights leaders, speaks eloquently on the moral issue before 200,000 during the March on Washington, declaring, "I have a dream of an America where all colors and creeds are seen as equal." On September 15th, and the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, is attacked by white supremacist terrorists during Sunday school classes, and 4 black girls are killed in the bombing. Across the world on November 1st, the government of South Vietnam is overthrown in a military coup, and President Ngo Dinh Dinh is assassinated with the tacit approval of the United States. And then on November 22nd, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy is assassinated by a gunman while his motorcade is making its way through Dealey Plaza in Dallas. Lyndon Baines Johnson is sworn in as the 36th President of the United States. It's a little bit more. Strictly speaking, the 1960s began on January 1st, but it has been said that the 60s is marked by civil action, domestic and international violence, and myriad cultural shifts began sometime in 1963 and continued for about a decade thereafter. Certainly, a quick review of the previous pages in this book could be accompanied by a drum roll. People were coalescing around issues that there was a push and pull between the past and the future, and there was a growing willingness to question authority. To be sure, 1963 didn't look much different than 1962 or 59, or for that matter, 53. If the civil rights protests were now in the streets earlier, there had been Brown versus Board of Education, and clearly segregation in the South and elsewhere remained intact. The guys in JFK's Peace Corps sported crew cuts or flat tops and cheap shirts, while women's fashion, though influenced by Kennedy's A-line dresses, still featured the hair and wheels we see on Made Men. The Great Escape, starring Steve McQueen, was a hit. Go ahead. What do you say?
I'm just thinking because I'm the age in the so she was. I just said next that coming after.
Yeah, and you was breaking up bad on that one. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it too. Anyways, we're almost 4 hours. I got to work a double tomorrow. You there, Pat?
Work full shift tomorrow, but
oh yeah, I hear you.
Hold on.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. shit. I think we lost you again. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it. Oh, fuck, I'm tired. You there?
Yeah. So wait a minute. I got 2 of them open.
Yeah. Well, you sound good. Don't worry about it.
All right. Yeah, I kicked myself out accidentally. But what was I saying? What was the last thing we were talking about?
Something about John F. Kennedy.
Oh no, yeah, no. I was saying the whole idea, like who she became. Jackie Kennedy ended up becoming Jackie Onassis. I think in the 80s, I guess you can say, because she ended up marrying some filthy rich millionaire Onassis. But that was just a side thought I was thinking, when you was reading that article. But there was a lot of stuff, like they had like a couple of years ago they released some papers about her conversations with the FBI or CIA or something, and like the whole thing, like telling some of the things that are supposedly true about Martin Luther King, and I guess because that was during the beginning of COINTELPRO, and all that. So they knew him messing with these different women and blah blah blah. But because she tried to make him out to be like he was a much worse guy than the people saw him as. But there was some papers that was released on some of the stuff that happened back then. Her interview with the CIA after, because I think somebody was saying that potentially she knew that he was about to get hit. Her husband. Or that when she saw or she didn't know, maybe she didn't know that they were about to do it, but once it happened, like she saw who did it, which they saying was the driver. Saying his driver was the one that actually killed him with the gun coming up through the side of the seat, but so after that happened to him, like they had to convince her, all right, look, we can figure out a way to make something happen to you too. You better just need to keep your mouth shut and move on with your life
before we snuff it out.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to wrap it. I'm tired as hell.
Yeah, they would have suicided if they had to. Yeah, man, I'm tired, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be back tomorrow.
Okay. Well, when you have a good idea of about what time, let me know so I can try to prepare.
All right, cool. I seen some text. All right, man. Peace and love. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining.
Peace and love. Everybody is more than welcome to donate to the show.
Yeah.
That's $ King Chaka ENT.
Right. It's on the screen.
And just to keep things moving.
Yeah. All right.
Thank y'all
man.
for being here, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yep. All right, man. Peace and love. Get you some rest, man.
For sure.
All right, man.